back, man. We're back, boys. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's popping?
We do. What's up? We all
What's
right.
popping? You good?
Yeah,
You great?
yeah, we did. We thank God.
All is good?
Man, I know hear that one.
All is good. All is good.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I don't just understand.
That's a typical Nigerian answer. I hear them. I don't just understand.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's good, good. I'm good. Gas is getting cheaper, so I'm good.
But the Strait of Hormuz has not been. Today, they say the Strait of Hormuz is a Schrodinger's Hormuz. It's open and closed at the same time.
We'll carry this person, MC Olomo, go that straight up from us. We will know exactly what will happen.
uh,
It's
Because I
only
don't
MC
understand.
Oluomo that can save us now.
Nah, because I don't understand the back and forth anymore.
talking about this MC Olomo thing. That record did not work the way he thought it was going to work.
Who's that?
Odumodu, no.
Okay, it depends on how you think he wanted it to work. Because me, I think it actually worked. Like he was able to somehow characterize the person in somehow in a way where, okay, let me put it like this. I think it's important for artists and creators, right, to somehow journal and timestamp some people in memoriam so that in the future we can always use this as source of truth or identifiers to show how important or relevant that person was, you know, whether from a popular or notorious standpoint was at that point in
Yeah,
time. And I think that record kind of did it, along with tennis. I could call him Suolu or more for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
but I think I know what Steve is talking about. But Steve, go ahead.
No, I think he, because he's coming off just like the Declan Rice record, man.
Yeah,
So I thought maybe he thought it was going to have, I believe maybe I thought it was going to have like the same impact as the Declan Rice record,
I don't think it
especially
was ever
using,
going. Yeah, using
especially using like controversial character,
yeah.
as an MCO Lomo as the premise of the record.
I think people had already gotten tired of. I think Uloma is too notorious for like
Yeah,
the popular um, enablers
yeah.
and people who champion Afrobeats for them to accept them using like this character and blowing it out of proportion. You get what I mean?
Okay, hold on. Who are these people? Because I think the same people would have had an issue with if you know Soko, if you know. But that still didn't stop the record.
That's a brilliant one, right? However,
Yeah.
you are juxtaposing real life scenario and what happens with a popular person, which is easy for you to blacklist or say you do not identify with.
Mm,
Do you understand?
okay.
And
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you have sent one, like Oluomo is centralized to one figure and one character.
yeah.
If you not do this one, if you not do that one, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
You understand? Like it's happening everywhere, you know. And
Understood.
yeah,
Makes
and
sense.
that's more like like pay for a service, which they say is the oldest form of business.
Economic, the oldest form of commerce.
You understand? Oldest
That
form of
take,
commerce.
yeah.
Shout out to that.
So that okay, this takes me to the hip hop, the question I had all through the week, and it's a Niger hip hop question.
hmm
Who had the best verse on local rappers?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I've never thought of that before.
Because I've never looked at it from that standpoint. I've looked at it from them being unified. Because
Yeah,
that song whether you want to call it a coup de
It's a coup
grace.
d'etat. Yeah.
Well, let's say coup de
Anyone,
grace.
coup de
Nobody
grace,
died
coup
for the.
d'etat. Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody
it's
yeah.
a
died.
In
coup.
Nigeria hip hop is a top five moments in Nigeria hip hop.
Yes, it is the
Yeah.
It's a
moment.
very important record.
It is the moment everything switched. Officially, it had switched, but
It
it
has
was the
switched
moment where
like
they
2 years,
said,
yeah. More.
"Okay,
Now we get time.
we are
So
now
what you were gonna
confident
do?
enough to say this is what's going on because the media is now on our side, the industry players are now on our side, everything is now on our side. We've been in the not ghetto, we've been in the background. You people have laughed at us for at least a decade. Now we're here and there's nothing you can do about it. But going directly to Steve's question, who had the best verse? Hmm.
Lo,
Oh,
lo,
because
lo, lo.
the chorus alone is just the chorus alone
It's
is
just mad.
it's just it's just mad, you know. Um, but to me, like the most memorable verse for me is still Reminisce's verse.
Oh Lord.
Mm,
Yeah,
this guy,
you understand?
yeah,
Is
Yeah.
Reminisce's verse for me personally, oh, you know, and I'll tell you why. Wọlé pẹ̀lú Ṣínà na mẹ́fà. He was,
Wow.
he was just wilding, you know. I think the Fino verse they switched the beat and they gave it
yeah.
this rhythm.
That's yeah. It's a very important part for me
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
That
which is dope
universe.
because
That piece. Yeah.
and you know why I like local rappers. I love local rappers because it would have been easy for them to just get like a CDQ or one of the other guys and do like a Southwest movement. But they
Yeah.
said no. The local
Nope.
rappers is actually Yoruba speaking rappers, Igbo speaking rappers.
Igbo
It was
speaking
They
such a
saw
rapper.
the yeah.
unifying moment.
Yeah, they
That
saw the
is
full picture. They
Do you
saw the
understand?
full picture that yeah, nigga, we did it.
And this thing had been building up, like we talked about, government, Olamide and
That was the precursor and
yeah,
reminisce.
Reminisce and Olamide and India, right?
Yeah.
They did
Yeah.
yeah.
government. Olamide had done sitting on the throne. Do you understand? And then it was just like, okay, this is the moment.
Almost
Local
time.
rappers,
Yeah.
you understand? Talking in Jawomo, all those punchline of Jawomo. Oh, it was crazy because now
It was crazy.
they control the commercial aspect as well. They're making more money, they're getting more deals. They've broken into
Bro.
mainstream.
Bro, if you
They
look
have
at
a
it,
sizable amount of crowd. They don't call their crowd or their fans anymore Raz.
of
Everybody's
course,
rocking to their music. And you know
Olic was
what's
the number
funny?
one show in the game, right? In Nigeria at the time now.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? What's funny is that everybody now, like after that, it was now like the only thing that could, the only person that could do the comeback of that year, and I have to check the timelines if I'm right, was MI's chairman.
No,
Like
this MS Chama came out before local
it came out
rappers.
before, right?
Yeah.
Because what's funny is that at the end of the year, when you review the whole thing and you want to say, okay, like who hit the high notes, who hit the high points, and everything, you look at it and you say, those three guys, you know how relevant they are. They're so relevant that they end all three of them were featured on MI's chairman,
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
And standout tracks, actually.
including the person who sang Storm Rex.
Hmm.
They were all featured on MI's chairman. So it was like they are that important right now. That the number one, what we consider as the number one MI, do you understand? With the comeback album,
Yeah.
chairman, 4 years after dropping his sophomore album, he had to feature all those guys because he needed them on the album. Local rappers. Oh man. I think I'll give it to Reminisce though. Such an important moment. Is it top
Makes
five
sense.
moments? Is it top five moments?
Yeah, it
Top five
is. It
moments. Top
is.
five moments.
Yeah, it's the top five moments.
There's also another moment, even though it's not musical. It's musical, but not as if it had like a music product that showed that indigenous rap had even strangled attention away from pop music. And that was the night when Olamide and Don Jazzy clashed at the Headies. And Olamide was like, fuck it. I think that was another big moment for indigenous rap music. Like, bro, nobody's going to bully us for what we believe is ours. And I think that's another very important moment for Nigerian rap music.
I would even go a bit further and say it goes beyond even rap. That moment was more like because that moment gave birth to like all the Fola, Shode, all the guys you
Yeah,
see today. That Ashake, that whole run, right? Because it was
yeah.
always it was a elite versus streets.
The Raz
You
boys from the
understand?
streets. Yeah.
Like the mainstream versus the cool kids versus that's what it
Yeah,
was
that's
that
how it
day.
was. Yeah.
And props to Olamide, who at that time did not want to identify with anything that looked industry,
Yeah. It
did
was
not want to
anti-industry.
anti-industry, anti you people with your fake lifestyle, whatever, whatever going on there. Here is streets.
Don't
Do you
come
know
to
what
the
it is?
mainland.
Do you know what it is to get on a stage, right? Look people in the eye and say his guy was just cheated.
Yeah.
red cups, everything, throw it down, fuck that shit. Streets to take over. That's what he said now.
Yeah, like streets took
Yeah.
over.
Yep.
The
Yep.
Not
streets are
Yep.
buying
taking
not buying
over.
yeah.
We've taken over.
Yeah.
And he had to take the richest black man at the time to settle them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking like, what's Dangote doing with Olamide and John? What's like, Dangote is probably
when I saw those pictures, I was like, bro, there's something bigger that we don't know about this.
Do you understand? It
Yeah.
means they call Dangote and say, Dangote, you're the only. Dangote is just going to be like, wait, hold on. I have my board meeting next week. Do you understand? Price of cement is going up. I need to fix this thing out. You people are telling me to come and settle an Afrobeat. What?
But you know he has his ears on the ground, Sha. What happens in Nigerian music?
It is crazy that it had to take, and that's how big and important that thing was. It
Yeah.
had to take a Dangote. God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Steve, since you did this, we might as well just start the
Let's
show.
do it.
We might as
Let's
well.
go.
Steve already did it now. I was going to set up for something else, but it is.
Oh,
what it
for
is.
real?
No. Come on, man. I like this. Is what this show is spontaneous. That's the whole concept of the show.
Let's start what we have come into the room to do.
Oh Lord, bá mi dáríjì wọn. Kọ́fẹ́nu tán fi pè mí lókà pè mí number one. Owó yapa nínú bank account mi. Fùrọ̀ ńláńlá dẹ̀ yapa lórí tábìlì mi. Street take over, talking in ló jáwó mọ́. Street take over, wordplay ó jáwó mọ́. Street take over, talking in ló jáwó mọ́. Street take over, wordplay ó jáwó mọ́. Woo! Haha, bílẹ̀. Tell you all them like a shot door, yeah. Mo tún tẹ sójú ẹ fún ọ lórí floor, yeah. Ẹ̀yin fọ́ọ̀mù girlfriend yìí ló kọ́, yeah. Punchline wèrè wo, òun lẹ́tí gbọ́, yeah. Ṣèbí tẹ́lẹ̀ wọ́n sọ pé mi ò good ní sí. Mo ti dọ́gba tí bá kọjá nínú hood. Kọjá gàjìgà torí mo fẹ́ get food. Ṣíbà, baboon. Ìbílẹ̀ wọlé pẹ̀lú ṣínàna mẹ́fà. Mẹ́ta nu àwọn ọmọ yẹn current girlfriend fresh rapper. Finá sí ṣàpè fún wọn, kọ́ pariwo up nepa. Àyíká mo sì lọ mọ̀, pè mí lọ stepper. It took a while to get me here, so I'm gonna take my time in here. Show me wúrà pass me this year. Náwó kiri ẹ̀ àbófẹ́tẹ̀. Bóyá check chat ẹ̀ ta ló top ẹ̀. Tí ó bá sí bí mo ti flop ẹ̀. Ó ti pẹ́ tí mo grow tí mo crop ẹ̀. Ilẹ̀ ìyá aláya hip hop ẹ̀. Nike pẹ̀lú Jordan canvas, Gucci flip flop ẹ̀. Wọ́n ní mo sì gbẹ̀rẹ̀. So you le hip hop way. Lo carapa. Àwọn fancy jar, àwọn nigga wọ́n ti bọ́ pampas.
Oh Lord, this can't be me. But I wanna get you can't believe. Oh yeah, you're the type of believe. Oh let's get Sabe sample me. I need punchline of Java. Streets is take over. Punchline of Java. I need punchline of Java. Streets is take over. Punchline of Java. Makanaki with a khaki, I drive them crazy, couldn't doubt more banky, daddy Yankee, exactly, more rumpy, one thing I want me to be Zaki, but I can't see him so fat, don't go smooth anymore, I want to be Dalayaki, I be backy, boy, I don't throw show it to you, I want to make the good old long back me, who's gonna bang, even my gang, who's got a bad, mommy, yes, daddy, you ain't got a bad, fuck what you heard, I ain't thinking about you, nigga, I got too many screws, losing the head, so I died all over the me, bad money duplex, but the big kill too bad, that one by that is about the better, you know what about the kid, who want to put back, oh shit, ass nigga, I'm in your baby shmada. What's it take up my throne? Yeah, I'm in your time to shut up. Bobby Schmada, go and do a lower bye. He's made a lesson in the young lunch. Bye. I was soon. As she might jump on down, Samuel Bosu. If I could have done that job, Bambo. I walk a strike, it's the other strike on your album.
This can be me. Amuma Kuma Shanana Chossi deceive. I dey run town, boy, I no get the lead. One day, in a super Nebiko, tell me what you mean. Kupu, in man a punchline, I dey echo. Sweet and take over. Look at them what they go. One day, in man a punchline, I dey echo. Hasinambo, bad influence, Makita, I dey echo. One the bull him silent, wing. Hey, look out boy, Hasinambo, look out boy, man, no more sassy overseas like it just in my local toy. Who come on here with my guys and chat, but join here my convoy. Then my movie, I guess Nambo's in the local truck. Yeah, you love your girl, that's what you say. Boy, I can get her pants off on a Tuesday. Listen, I'm the local man, nothing I'm with the way. Yeah, Melina, back to back, run street like I'm the new to back. From ground I rest, stop the child. Leave home back, I level up on the height. You must jam on the light. They hate me, man, I'm more can't on a bite. But I pity a nigga who goes bad. You lose on the man on man height. I do this way, better cool it to all man come with Mayweather. And I keep it black, I made to feather. And I think I'm a like whatever, nigga, whatever. And it's a gear fly. When I want to one time, which night look out. Never done a reminisce, one day we the just this can be me. Muma Kuma Shanana Chossi deceive. I did run town, boy, I don't get the lead. One day in us from that Biko, tell me what you mean.
Oh Lord, this can be me. But I wanna get you can't believe. Oh yeah, let it stop believe. Oh let's show you stop for me.
Oh Lord, Bami Daddy G1. Kọ́fẹ́nu tó fi pè mí lókà pè mí number one. Owó yapa nínú bank account mi. Fúrọ́ lálẹ́ yà pa lórí tábìlì mi.
And the punchline of Jama.
Street take over, talking in no Jama.
Street don't take over, look how they were just take over.
Street is take over, punchline of Jama.
You are now listening to New Stuff.
You are now listening to Loose Talk.
New Stuff, baby.
Look, yeah, boys they know on the blueprint, they wanna be me, so I am. But they know if you be me, they don't get flavor, not banana. May they no tear their AC, yeah, cause they won't flow like black. Feel rappers turn into internet gangsters, Anti-what? More like anti-success, They don't get motion, maybe they need a real check. No if you tell their guy the truth, they got some dick for loose depend. But they go sleep tonight if you tell or God say that shit is I've been pulling strings, made the machine work for me. Whenever I need PR, they be like my employees. So much the Lulu think he's a king, but he's a pawn. I make a move, watch how his mouth go start to run. I can't fall like Eddie Hazard, oh, they sabi my paro. She said they get flashbacks, so hit flash. Summertime, I splash on that hole. I dey on hit, but do not back to back, yeah, straight raw, we know they act tobacco, When I come out, so rock I like Dwayne Johnson, presidential, Rolly presidential, Nigga, I'm monumental, Who them beat? Niggas inconsequential, Just a bunch of whack niggas will drop out for kindergarten, Boys, they know on the blueprint, they wanna be me, so I am. But they know if you be me, they don't get flavor, not banana. May they no tear their AC, yeah, cause they won't flow like black. Feel rappers turn into internet gangsters, Anti-what? They don't get motion, maybe they need a real check. No if you tell their guy the truth, they got some dick for loose depend. But they go sleep tonight if you tell or God say that shit is all the agriculture where they give us confidence go soon off. Then they got sound to rap with me, the machine goes to knock. Make it they doing high life, they go. Make it they sing high note one they go. Make it they suck or dick or low show. Anywhere belly lazy they go. Razor, shit, the machine is faulty. You go need quick recovery. But people go soon down 50. Used to be him but risky. Now he don't cast his finish. Every day all about black is tweeting. Anywhere we cloud day you see him, old man. All you really want is greeting. Person go think say they co-sign them. You just want ride their wave. End of the month, Elon Musk go pay. Talk anything we go cost go pay. Wait, another dog eat dog. Put that shit inside the boys. They know on the blueprint, they wanna be me, so I am. But they know if you be me, they don't get flavor, not banana. May they no tear their AC, yeah, cause they won't flow like black. Feel rappers turn into internet gangsters. Anti-what? More like anti-success. They don't get motion, maybe they need a real check. No if you tell their guy the truth, they got some dick for loose depend. But they go sleep tonight if you tell or God say that shit is Tell or God say that shit is Yeah, you're a bitch to me. You're a bitch to me. You're a bitch that's controlled by your bitch who was a bitch to me. Rapper with no feet enter studio, that's a bitch to me. All this nigga do is tweet the biggest bitch in history. Remember you say you go destroy me. Now you want to act a victim. No if you focus on your thought, cause the fans are missing. No Charlie, no party, I'm a playboy, no party. That's your phone, make you try to drop on. Take your time, make you heal and come back. Those your bitch ass niggas no go tell you, cause if you dey rehab, who go pay for their wig and handbag? All that tantrum just a cry for help. Last time that I looked inside your eyes, bro, you wasn't there. All your mentors where you they pull down, streets don't feel forget. Take your time to self-reflect, if you get some self-respect.
You are now listening to Loose Talk.
You're welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast, Loose Talk, baby.
Loose talk, baby.
Yes, y'all. And we are back. We've got a guest today, I believe.
Yes,
Got a guest today, and he's joining right now. Of course, I'm here with my League of Extreme podcasters. Can't say award winning. You guys have not won an award for this podcast, have you? A decade in no award. Wow.
It's rigged.
A decade in no award. Wow.
It's fucking rigged.
We won the streets.
Which street to take over? You guys. We just need a stage to throw our own records on the ground, and we'll be fine. We'll be good. Anyways, I'm here with Africa's #1 pop culture curator, Mr. Ayomide Oluwasegun Tayo II, AOT2 drop.
Yes, what's popping?
And of course, the lead researcher all the way from Canada, Steve Diddy, Canada. Which one is it, the LDR or the SDC? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna say? Anyone, the LDR SDC. What about that? Drop a bomb.
Nigerians love titles, so just the pack and found.
You go and put it on your LinkedIn, Steve Diddy, LDR, SDC,
People go chop up more. They're not gonna say this thing.
The funny thing is that when you go to like other people's, like from other nationalities, you don't see all those titles there. You just see their name and you see their work experience. But Nigeria, ACPIM, IAPPP2, AC this one, PM.
Just in case, we will rush.
You understand? You see all those people's titles, Doctor Magic, Doctor Mister something to. Come on, man. Do you really need all those things? Do you really need it? We don't. We started the show by popular demand. Well, Steve's demand. We started the show with local rappers, Reminisce featuring Olamide Fino, and I believe Storm Rex with the background vocals. And we followed up with the newest version of Black Bones' ACL off his No Excuses Deluxe. Came with a new beat and a new verse. And let's just keep it moving. We have our guest here already. Our guest has to switch on their video. Our guest is none other, by popular request, Damilola Alonge. Damilola Alonge in the building. Round of applause, please.
Yes.
Dami, where's your video, please?
Okay, are we doing video?
No, we're not recording the video.
Okay.
We just record the audio. Don't worry.
Okay.
Look at him. He's outside in the. He's outside. Look at the bright sky and everything. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
No wonder I was trying to hide.
Streets to take over. You did try hide. You did try these guys. Anyways, man, we're here and we've got a lot to talk about. And since he's here, last time you were here was how many years ago?
That was 2018 or so. Yeah.
2018, 2019.
Or it could be 17.
No, I think 17. No, 18. I think it was 18.
He was Ghost. He was cool guest with a popular.
Yeah,
with
the CEO of Florida Wave, GB.
Yes.
Yeah. That was the last time. And you just imagine what Florida Wave has gone to do from that time when we had him on the podcast. He was just trying to explain payments to us. Probably didn't even understand what the hell he was saying back then. You understand? Funny enough, like we then moved into that space to go and do more. Man, life is so funny.
It's interesting. Yeah,
life is very interesting. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about, and it's mostly about our favorite country, Nigeria. That's what we're going to talk about. So. We'll be talking about the state of the Nigerian economy. We'll be talking about what young people should be doing right now, should be investing in, if you have the funds to invest in. We'll also be talking about this Iran versus US are you going to describe it as a war? It's not a war. Is it a war? It's a war, right?
It's a war. That's the only way. How else do you want to define it?
Yeah, because when I was writing this show notes, it's a war. It's a war.
It's a war.
It's a war.
Yeah, it's a war, but the US hasn't declared it a war. Yeah, so that's why you're not getting that.
No,
Yeah.
and they've
The
not fed it
vibe,
into the media
yeah.
propaganda for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Still okay. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm sure the people on the other side will definitely consider it a war because they are losing lives, property, people are dying, and all of that. Bombing every day. It's crazy. It's crazy. I've told you this thing that it's crazy how the world just continues to go on, irrespective of people dying and everything, right? I have a friend of mine who's from that region, right? And I talked to him and I'm like, how's the family doing? They're like in a bunker. Or do you understand? Because things are blowing up for real. Things are just blowing up. I don't know if I've said on my this podcast, my friend who was in Ukraine when the Russia-Ukraine war started. He said he has set his alarm for 6:30 in the morning to get to work. By 5:30, he was woken up by a bomb explosion.
Yeah, you
So
mentioned yeah.
yeah, bomb explosion. It's crazy the way he explains it to me. Bomb just goes off. You are in your boxers. You wear your top and shirt. Do you understand? And it's cold there. You go out. You just see people running. They don't speak your language. So he's confused. Picks up the phone, tries to call, and he calls somebody. Now says, "Oh boy, try pack with you if you pack. Move. We they go Poland."
What are you even packing? That's the thing. Like I don't, in that moment,
No, you're packing your certificates. You're
you're
packing
packing certificates. Yeah,
your documents.
Definitely.
Then
Yeah,
one or
packing.
two
Those are
stuff in the bag. So he heads down, and everybody's just running towards the direction. So you have to follow them.
War
Because
is crazy.
yeah, and then you are going and
It
you're
is
going. Then you
crazy.
start seeing Ukrainian soldiers just snatching men and throwing them in the truck.
Yeah,
That they have to
man.
go and fight war.
Definitely.
Then and they are leaving the children and the women. Then the boys who are the adolescent kids who are not yet 18, you have to start proving you're not 18 yet. You're bringing out ID card, looking at they're looking at it. Okay, they're letting you go. Then even you, because they snatched him up as well, and then he had to show them that he's not Ukrainian.
Yeah.
That
Then
was
they left him.
that was probably in the early stages of the war.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when the thing was starting, when the Ukrainian soldiers started entering every city to snatch the men. Because the men don't want to go to war, they want to run. They don't
Yeah.
want to go to war.
Bro,
So they
who
have
wants to go to war?
they have to forcibly enlist you.
Yeah. But isn't America enlisting guys now? I heard that by the end of this year that people within a certain age range now are being enlisted into the military.
And Germany as well.
I don't want to crack a joke about Germany, but it's not it's Germany. So let's move on.
It is we're getting there now, where everybody is reviewing their military strategy and everything, and saying, okay, if somebody just tries to act a fool, what can we do?
Yeah. UK floated the
So
idea.
President saw the future of like 4 years ago. Remember his famous speech about drafting 50,000 men into the
Was
army.
it 50? It's more than 50,000. That number was mad.
Yeah.
Recruits.
Yeah.
Recruits.
Yeah. Because the guy looked at it and said, you people are jobless on Twitter every day. Do you understand? Go and check the most popular accounts on Twitter talking about anything. You see an American face, American flag. Go and click on the profile. You will just see
Niger,
based in Africa, connected to Nigerian store. Do you understand? But you see them talking about American politics or pop culture or something.
Yeah.
You are jobless. Go and join the military. Anyways, man, that means good to have you on the show.
Yeah,
let's get it going. Let's talk about the state of the Nigerian economy. Let's go straight into it. The state of the Nigerian. How would you describe the state of the Nigerian economy now?
So it's good to be here. Long running podcast, one of the greatest.
Yeah, the greatest actually.
Yeah. So it's good to be here. AOT2, Osagie, Steve Dede. Salute. Okay, state of the Nigerian economy. Nigeria is in a terrible shape. So, macro-wise, Nigeria is healing. So you have a situation where you have a bit of stabilization in the economy. So what Tinubu did when he came in was the most important thing was because Buhari left the economy in a disaster. You had exchange rate problems with MFLA, with multiple exchange rates. You had fiscal problems. You had debt challenges. So with Tinubu coming in, the job was to stabilize the economy. So that's what they did. Now, the way they went about it is a different story. So you can say the economy on the macros are getting stable. Inflation has been trending down, just came back slightly or popped up last month. The exchange rates are a bit more stable. People are able to get access to exchange rates. To Forex. You heard the BOA CEO talk about it, where he doesn't need to call the CBN governor or go to CBN. They can get flows. So you're experiencing that. So stability is coming back. New reforms also coming too with the tax bill, which is very good, harmonizes everything. So for the macros, things are getting a bit more stable. But for the micros, as is for the common man, the people on the streets, the process through which they went through the reforms wasn't good, wasn't optimal. They could have done better. So you had a situation where the exchange rate moved from about 750 and ran amok to probably 16, 17 before trending back to say 15, and we are probably at 14 levels. So that sharp rise led to a spiral in inflation. And we can see what inflation has done. A lot of prices, things have doubled, things have tripled. So you have that situation. Then also the fuel subsidy policy, the removal first day he resumed, was also badly done. It was ill-timed. Subsidy removal could have happened over a period of time. You could have been removing it in phases. And also communication policy, very poor. No clear communication to the people, didn't carry them along, didn't also show them like a straight line between policy and impact on their lives. So, but he pushed through all these very unpopular reforms in a very bold and audacious way. I give him credit for that. So where we are, the economy is, 2025 we grew at about, I think, 4.8, I can remember clearly. The economy grew slightly much better 2025, but we're experiencing possible headwinds, which is coming from Iran, from the US and Israel war on Iran. So energy is becoming a challenge. Fertilizers, which we'll speak more about, is also becoming a challenge. 1/3 of fertilizers come from that region. So planting may be a bit difficult. But for the macros, at least inflation is down. We have stable exchange rates. The economy is slightly picking up and it's growing. You're experiencing a bit of at least foreign interest. You're also seeing people are mobilizing money into the domestic capital markets. So you see interest in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. You see interest in the fixed income instruments. Treasury bills are more attractive. So you don't see this urge for dollar savings as much as before. Money market funds are doing 18, 19. So there's a lot of interest there. Inflation has trended back to 15. So we're experiencing what you call a positive carry. So that's a real positive interest rate where the investors are earning more than what inflation is doing. At least inflation on paper, we have to speak about that one because
it's a popular topic here.
Let me also ask you. I want to ask you because we keep talking about how the exchange rates, like the sharp rise, right?
Yeah.
Which you mentioned that it was like one of the problems of like the way they handled it.
Yes.
Wasn't that largely a result of like market forces? Because if you are suggesting that are you suggesting that the government should have also controlled it a bit? And if you are suggesting that, isn't that control what we're against in the first place?
Okay, so the way they went about it, I think the governor at the time was not Emefiele. It was the acting central bank governor that did that move. So what he could have done was, one of the things was, I can't remember clearly where interest rates were, but we had a situation where probably inflation was high, interest rates were not as attractive. So we could have gone straight to orthodox monetary policy, which was what Cardoso did when he came. We must give credit to Cardoso. He has brought a lot of stability back to the market, predictability, because as a central bank, foreign investors and investors locally, they need to anchor onto something. So the central bank is independent from the federal government in the sense that its policies are independent. And so people need to be able to work with. So Cardoso brought back more predictability, communication, and then brought back orthodox monetary policy, which is if inflation is high, you raise interest rates. Emefiele was doing this unorthodox, trying to keep keep the interest rates low to inject credit into the economy. But the problem is when you inject that credit into the economy, that money is going to be chasing FX. So that was also what was putting pressure on the FX. So he was doing all these unorthodox things, trying to create different exchange rates to manage all of this. But Cardoso came back, harmonized the exchange rates, raised interest rates. So that attracted domestic capital, because when you have 21% on your money market fund or T-bill.
That's good money, man.
Yeah. In 5 years, you're almost making back your entire capital. Yeah. So he did that, and then foreign investors also looked at the stability in the Naira, and then they came in because the rates were very, very attractive. So the positive carry for them, borrowing at low interest rates, moving into 20-21%. So the yields were really great.
So to put some context there, right, where, because some people will be asking, why are foreign investors coming in? The interest that people can get from stabilized economies, right, like the US, all these places, is not more than 5%. For example, in the Netherlands, even just as not even as a businessman, just as a typical person who wants to invest in any fund and everything, max you're getting here is 3 point something or 4% at max, because the interest rates also when you are borrowing is as low as that. And so even these foreign investors that have dollars and everything, they are looking at the Nigerian market and they're saying, what? I can get 18% per annum. Please bring all my money and bring it into this market. And so they come into the Nigerian market. And what helps us is that we now have their money to what? The more money you invest into a market, the better it is for the market can grow and everything. So even these Oribo foreign investors, they are looking and saying, what's going on in Nigeria? 21% per annum, please invest $2 million in there.
Exactly. So, and what they look at is they look at communication. They say, okay, and this money is what you call hot money. So these monies, they help to bring in, because before you can get FDIs to come in, which we'll speak about, you need hot money. You need the FPI, the foreign portfolio investors. They come in first and they are confident, but they are short-term guys. So they're looking 1 year, 2 years, and they're out. So as far as your rates are attractive and they're able to get that spread, they'll continue to remain in your market. So we have about maybe $20 billion or if not more of foreign investors' money. So that's created a bit of stability. So with the previous central bank governor, he moved at a time when the rates were not attractive and that policy was just horrible. So we moved from about 752. It just kept declining, fast decline. And then you now had a situation where the tail wagging the dog. So when you hear, market rates are this, it was like a cycle. Everybody was in panic, and it's like the race to the bottom. So there was no communication, no one to say, because if you go and check the real transactions that were being done, they were sometimes not done at those levels. But when there's so much market noise, the rates will just keep on falling. So with Cardoso, at least that has been achieved. So macroeconomic stability has been slowly achieved, but rough, very rough.
Before we move on, I wanted to talk about these foreign investments you're talking about, because people are also looking at it. What do you mean foreign investment? How do they bring the money in? These things can come in different ways, right? It can be building a hotel. It can be infrastructure. It can be investing in hospitals. Like, give us some examples of the different kind of investments that can happen. Because people are just saying 21%, because it's not everybody that is going into the money market fund.
Okay, so when we talk about foreign portfolio investors, they are usually guys that invest in liquid assets. So they are more interested in your fixed income, or more interested in like your treasury bills. So you have treasury bills, which are short-term instruments. they are between 1 month to 1 year. They're not more than 1 year. So treasury bills, very liquid. You can come in, you can get out. Now, that's one of them.
If they're coming in with their FX, they have to then come in and change to Naira, right?
Exactly, which causes the demand for the Naira, which brings about that more self-fulfilling demand. So when they come in, they switch the USD for the Naira, they purchase Naira, they pack in the USD. So that's more USD accruing to the central bank. So you have the T-bills. You also have open market operation bills. They call them OMO bills. Now, these bills are used for stabilizing liquidity in the system. But the central bank has also used it to sort of attract capital too into the country. So it's usually issued at any point in time. It doesn't have a regular calendar like you have with the T-bills. So those are some of the instruments that the foreign portfolio investors move in. That's the first layer. The second layer, they move into things like bonds, which could be 2 years. They could hold those positions too, liquid, because they want to always stay on the short end of the curve. They want to be able to get in and get out quickly.
Get in and get out.
Yeah. Then as more confidence is being built, they start to look at longer tenured bonds. They start to look at equities. So you start to see interest in GT, some of these names. People come in, they look at the dividend yield, they look at how much they can get in 1 year, and they come in. Sometimes they stay beyond that. So you need those guys to come in first. So it's liquid markets. Now, before you have people investing in key projects like hospitals, greenfield projects, building infrastructure, you need these FPI guys to come in first. That one takes time. It takes a bit of people. Now, you have different investors coming in, but when we refer to FPIs particularly, we're talking about the guys that are coming into your foreign investors, coming into these short-term instruments. So those are the guys that are coming. And then later on, you now start to see, larger project. They look at, because what every investor, FDI investor is looking at is exchange rate stability. In some cases, some of them buy what you call hedging products to hedge their positions and say, just in case the Naira weakens over the period, they can pick a price at which they will exit. So they sort of hedged it. It comes at a cost, but at least it protects them. But so your FPIs will first of all come in and they hold these instruments. And then you now start to see, I mean, you could have also seen it with some of the fintech platforms. They're trying to offer Naira products because they too are seeing that, man, this demand for maybe US equities or some other things have sort of slowed. So
I saw it with Rise. Rise did that, I think, last year or 2 years ago.
Responding to the markets. You see Bamboo too trying to do those things too, and the likes of them. Yes. So when you talk about things like real estate, on the individual level, people are doing transactions. So when you have high inflation, like we experienced, our inflation numbers went as high as 30-something%, went as high as 34%.
I'm not sure the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics will agree with you, but go ahead.
No, it was their report. It went as high as 34, and then they changed the methodology. So they changed the basket, the weight of...
They rebased it.
Yes, it was rebased. So when they rebased it, the numbers fell off. So those are the things, we a lot of people think that you should have kept those numbers, the old numbers alongside the new numbers, so that people can continue to make, year-on-year comparisons and see what it really looks like. But you know how these things work. So, so we're speaking about real estate. Now, what you experience is that high inflation caused a lot of asset prices to go up. If you notice, when Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in, he was being a pro-capitalist type of person he is. You saw the Nigerian stock market pump because the Buhari dark cloud cover, I know my FX traders will understand that, the dark cloud cover over Nigeria by Buhari had left. Nigerian stocks were trading below their Africa valuations, the Africa average, banks, FMCGs. And so with the reforms, first of all, in place, if you look at the reforms, the FX reforms, and then the fuel subsidy reforms, it made the market, it was a pro-market situation. So there was a lot of demand for Nigerian stocks. Now, back to FX. One of the challenges with the FX situation was When they took out the subsidy, the FX subsidy, we didn't get a supply in place. Our reserves were low when they devalued. So it was a bad time. You needed to have gone to get reserves, something from the IMF or something from the World Bank. They needed to position at least maybe at least $10 billion or $20 billion program. You needed something substantial, like what you call a backstop. With that, if you devalued, you won't have a run on the currency like we had. You needed to adjust the currency, definitely, from where it was, say, 750, probably needed to be adjusted. But if you are going to get a backstop, a program from the IMF, say 10 or $20 billion program, at a program that would not cost you that much. That was what we're expecting the Minister of Finance to have done and the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration to have done. Get that backstop before you devalue. What that will signal is massive confidence. If you have the IMF giving you $10 billion, if you look at what happened to Egypt, Egypt's case is a bit different. Egypt was facing challenges. You know how Ghana went down? Egypt was facing its own crisis, but the Gaza war was on. Now, Egypt is a special situation because Egypt can go down. Egypt controls the Suez Canal, goes through Egypt. So Egypt has a strategic role to play in the Middle East. And his brothers also will not let it go down. So Egypt was able to secure multiple programs. It got something from Qatar, if I'm not mistaken, Qatar or the UAE that gave about $20 billion. Then you saw the IMF, you saw the European Union, then I think you saw the World Bank. So they were able to get $50 billion. So it gave them, and when they devalued, it was just slight. Now, why? Is because for three reasons. Egypt being in that region, not causing problems for Israel, especially with the war going on in Gaza, playing well, nice with Israel and United States. They won't let it go down. They'll make sure it gets a program. Also, EU will follow on the back of that. Then you have the Qatar guys too that will not allow their brother go down. So it was certain, and that's why we recommended some of our clients to buy Egyptian bonds, Euro bonds that time, and there was a killing. So,
what does Nigeria then offer for like all these people you have mentioned to say, oh, Nigeria can't go down, most populous black nation in the world? You understand? Oh, we do XYZ with them, so we can't afford for them to go down. What does Nigeria have to offer?
So just talking about this quickly, you'll notice that when Trump was threatening Nigeria, I looked at Nigeria carefully and I said, Nigeria is a very weak nation, doesn't have any levers it can pull. Is in a region where nobody, look at Ghana. Ghana went down, nobody cared because it's in West Africa, who cares? If it was strategically located and had a lot of partners, they won't have let it go down. So if you look at Nigeria, yes, large country, nobody wants Nigeria's crisis like war.
Human
Yeah.
Human refugee crisis.
Saw the Ghanaian president speaking about it recently.
That
Nigeria
the guy was begging.
He's already seen the influx. They are feeling it already. So I don't think for that nobody wants that. But really, Nigeria doesn't.
What of our position as an oil producing country? Doesn't that count?
So how much? Thinking as well,
Yeah, how much volume do you produce? I won't say it's negligible. Nigeria produces 1.5 million barrels per day. So, look at Russia that produces about 9 million barrels. So when you saw where the war started with Russia and oil prices jumped. You saw Iran too, knowing that entire region is about 20 million barrels. So that's really important to everybody. UAE, Qatar, Iran. But Nigeria 1.5. Not that. If you look at Iran, Iran is strategically located. So a lot of people need Iran to work. The Russians need Iran to work.
Look at the Strait of Hormuz, Look at that whole back and forth.
The Chinese need Iran to work. Their their train goes through there. So it's an energy partner. But Nigeria, not that much. So Nigeria really needs to have.
How do we change this? Do we? And I think my answer, and you can correct me, is that we now need to switch back to becoming an industrious nation by producing so much, right? Just like what China does, that if we go down, we have so many partners that we produce for that they'll be worried because that's where they get their supply of like whatever materials we're supplying.
Yes. So that is it. Nigeria needs to become the backbone or one of the key leaders in Africa. It's one of the things I was really excited about when I listened to Aliko speak at Semaphore and he spoke at the Atlantic Council. And you could see his pro-Africa stance. And that stance would just purely be for profit. You know, it's Aliko, but he was able to get people on his side. And he said, this energy we're producing, yes, we're supplying Europe, we're supplying the United States, Jet A1 fuel and all, but we're primarily focused on Africa. So Nigeria needs to build, infrastructure such that you need to industrialize. That's how you get freedom. We saw the World Bank report admitting how many years after now, saying the best way is to industrialize. Industrialization policy. You know how they used to shoot down industrial policy of countries and say, open up your markets, export raw materials, So globalization favored them then, but now they've seen how supply chains have been resilient for people like China and how they really built heft. I mean, look at how China was able to stop the United States from clipping its wings by just holding back refined rare earths. So Nigeria has to be able to we need to build infrastructure. And another thing that's not been talked about enough in Nigeria is education. Look at the Iranians. If you look at the guys they've been putting forward, if you look at the team, these are solid guys. These are PhD guys.
Iran as a country just amazes me, bro. Like, I don't understand how they continuously are able to build capacity in middle of restrictions, like trade bans. Like, it's just incredible. I don't just understand it.
It's remarkable because if you look at it's an old civilization that has
very, very old.
So they've had a deep history, which is something that we don't have, but what Nigeria needs is you need people that are nationalists, people that focus more on the interest of the country and the interest of the people. If you look at
this is a conversation that we'll come back to. Later. Right? The question I want to ask is, I don't know if he's taking us back about the economy in general, like in terms of is still FS dependent at this moment, right? As long as we're in this mechanism of being FX depending on foreign currency, like how much foreign currency, is it possible to build an economy that way? Like, because at the end of the day, I think about all the measures that we've taken, all the policies that the government has taken, and the solutions. But I go back to what you just mentioned about industrialization. Can we be able to build a country without producing anything? Because if you look at our exports, like the way we export, it's almost non-existent, right? Like, how can a country like this? How can a country build itself like that? Like, is it possible? That's just my own question.
I mean, at the end of the day, down to the individual is how much you earn versus how much you spend. So output less inputs will give you either a net savings or a net loss. So the country has to focus on output. We have to be able to focus on production. And that's the challenge. If you don't have power, and that's why when I looked at the president's team and I saw Adelabu as power minister, it's not a good signal. There's not really.
So it means they are not interested in producing.
Yeah, you just see that it's not serious because this is your key man to lead the ministry. If it's not serious, then there's nothing. And that's what we've seen. Power grid falling down and all. So you need power to work. You need to be able to industrialize. You need power, first of all, to work. And then you're able to build infrastructure. And it's not, it's sort of people-led where you are focused on the people. It's not just, you're just allowing China to build railway from here to there. It has to be, how does this benefit commerce within the country? You're not building for Belt and Road Initiative where they're looking at how to bring in products and export products from you. Bring in finished goods and just take out raw materials. It has to be, how does this infrastructure help our businessmen, our country. So you need to be able to, I mean, we're already doing that with oil. Alicko's refinery would make us a net exporter of refined fuel. So that's one. Other key sectors have to look at and say, what are we doing on agriculture? What's going on? If you look at Alicko's speech at Atlantic Council, he said, we don't just want to export, because he's also seen, have you seen the DFIs from the US? They're interested in investing in Nigeria's, what they call it, solid minerals. So you can see this very aggressive approach. They told you, Trump has made the signal is business-led foreign policy. We're not doing all this business-led. So we're going...
USAID nonsense.
We're not giving AIDS again.
We're not doing... So you can see what they are doing. And they're already partnering, trying... So, but Aliko is saying, which is also good, he's saying, we need to get these things and process them. We just don't want to be exporting raw stuff, which is why he's building a port on, I think, Ogun State. It's going to be the largest deep sea port on the West African coast. So he's trying to say, let's take control a bit of the supply chain. Let's take a bit of the value on that chain. Let it be captured here. You don't want just multinationals just exporting raw things and just taking... Let's control. So we need more guys like that. And we need the government backing more people. That's how you control... Because if you look at the Chinese terms, according to him, is they come in with so much of their things and pre-priced. And he said, as a private company, we would, if we're dealing with the Chinese, we would, a lot of their quotes, we would price them. He says we will squeeze them till there's no blood left in them. The question is your government acting in the interest of the people in terms of pricing everything? So I think the dollar situation you mentioned, Steve, is a function of how much are we selling out? How much are we processing here? How much are we selling? What value are we getting? If you look at Ghana too, look at what Ghanaian president was saying, we're trying to process more here. We don't just want to keep selling. We want to be processing more here. So I think that's what we need to really encourage.
I want to take us back to where we started, right? The macro and the mini.
Yes.
And we've seen how macro things are looking better. But for the mini, it's even worsening, right? House rents have gone up. Of course, groceries gone up, everything gone up, right? How do you communicate that? And I think the government has done a bad job, but how do you think it should be communicated to the average man who is experiencing the worst it has been in the last decade versus what is happening on the macro level? How do you communicate that to say, oh, things are going to get better, etc.? And also, there's this notion that the government is also not tightening its own belts. The lawmakers, the public office holders, we see how we've seen all the infographics from budget and all these guys, the expenditure that has gone into these things. You understand, different sectors that are handling different categories of work. I saw something I think in mining and fishery, and they're responsible for building a train somewhere. Like we've seen all these things happen. How do you then communicate to the average man that things are going to get better? That's number one. Number two, do you think this capital expenditure, if we review it and streamline it, actually helps the money we can get from there, actually helps the people?
Okay, so the first one, the communication part. The thing is, like I say, people-centered leadership would show. The effects of what you are doing would show. Like Obi says, Obi will say 100%, he's not looking for 100% output or something, but 100% effort. People need to see, it feels like this administration is for big business. It's for the macros, for the big boys that can take advantage, and it's really good for them. You need to communicate it to the poor. You have, 63% people living in poverty. It's about 130 million people in multi-dimensional poverty. So they are like quick wins. I don't think we have a president that shows empathy to the country, to the people, the citizens. If you look at the children, the quality of their lives, has not improved, has even worsened. More people have gotten into poverty. Look at World Bank reports. You see more people who are going into poverty. So it's difficult to say that the macro policies are good. He's pushed through reforms, tax policy. Those things takes time to filter through. Look at Obasanjo's first, I think it's Okonjo-Iweala was speaking about her time and was saying the macros were good, but it was not inclusive, didn't get to the bottom. And that was what they were hoping to do during the Jonathan administration. So what has happened is the bottom, the middle class and the bottom, they really suffered because you went through reforms that you could have done it much better without people suffering this way. Now, the situation is currently inflation is 15%. What that means, if you go by that figure, just that flat figure, it means that prices between last year and this year have gone up by 15%. The question is, has your income gone up by 15%? So if you have that situation where year on year, and Nigeria's year on year average inflation rate over a 20-year period is around maybe 13, 14, 15%, around those levels. If you have that situation, it means that a lot of people are going to be falling into poverty over time.
It's just year on year, people will you will just be seeing new entrants into the poverty belt, below the poverty belt.
Yeah, the only people that will survive it will be people that can grow their income at faster rates than that. So people that are doing maybe business, people that earn in maybe stable foreign currencies.
And that's why I see with this macro conversation we're having, the only people that have been excited with this thing are people like you, the business guys. Do you understand?
No, I mean,
I see the guys do the podcast on metrics. You see them excited.
Yes,
because but the common man like you and me, we're not.
Yeah.
So when would this thing reach us?
Yeah. So if you are a price setter, you'd be good when there's inflation because all you need to do is just adjust your prices. You keep your margins. But if you're a price taker, you're in trouble. You're not setting prices. So that's why as an employee, you're in trouble. So it means you're either looking to change jobs or you're very smart or tactical with job opportunities and always. In countries where there's low inflation, which also means low interest rates, there's no constant anxiety with income because, bread today will probably be the same price with bread next year. It won't be that different.
And even if there's a slight increase, you know that at the start of the year, your company also adjusts for that inflation.
Aha, exactly. So sometimes
inflation went by maybe 0.5, your company will adjust and,
Exactly. So I think there was a quote by Margaret Thatcher or someone that said, if people understood the impact of inflation on their lives, there will be a massive revolt tomorrow. People don't know. That number is one of the most important numbers that you should be tracking because your life depends on it. For example, you have housing now. People are raising rent. So if you are an asset owner in a high inflation environment like real estate, equities, you do well, which is why the wealthy always do well because they are well positioned. They can take advantage. So I had a client that her property moved from about 400 million to 1.4 billion over a 3-year period. So you can see
she's excited.
Yeah. So even the inflation that has gone up in terms of her lifestyle and expenses, she's getting compensation for it. You understand? So in a high inflation environment, you want to be holding assets, especially like real estate. Those things are good for high inflation because look at the demand for housing in Lagos. It's crazy. It's
insane.
Yeah. I've told people that many people will not be able to live in Lagos over time. They will move from the city and go to the suburbs. If you're not earning decently, you're in trouble.
You will have to move to like surrounding cities, Abeokuta, etc.
So just back to inflation. If you don't have and which was why Sanusi, when he was central bank governor, they had an inflation target, which was, I think, 9% or something. There was a band, either a set level or a band. And then they reached their target because he was using orthodox monetary policy. He didn't give a shit about fiscal policy if interest rates were high and they had to service their debt at higher levels. He was very focused on the stability of the naira. And that's why for a long time, if you ask anybody, what's the price of dollar? 150. 150. It was very.
It never changed.
It stuck to our heads,
Yeah.
and that was also wrong, because if you have a situation where your inflation is 15%, and in naira, and you have the USD inflation of, let's say, 3 or 2%. According to economists, the people that calculate the what you call the real exchange rate, real effective exchange rates, it means every year you should adjust the currency based on the inflation on each currency. So every year you should adjust it by about that amount. So if you have inflation of about 15%, your currency should lose maybe 15, maybe 10 or 15. You should make that adjustment, which is why we don't do that. We keep it stable. And then when external shocks come, you just see that massive jump, which is not
We
properly.
we saw it when Buhari came in power. We saw it when Tinubu came in power.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
when does this benefit of macro, when does it get to mini?
Yeah,
the way, because everything is stable, everything is
yeah.
okay. So when does it, because this where he's finishing his first tenure by next year, by Q1 next year, I believe. And
Yes.
you know, this is also another thing we'll get into this, why I know a lot of economists and finance bros want Tinubu to continue, because they don't want the policies to change, because things not and it's not like it benefits them that much, but they are saying a continuance in what is going on is what is needed, blah blah blah, right? But like, when does this macro get to the mini? When does it get to Omotalika? People like us on this podcast, that we can say, Nigeria is so good that okay, we're not see, we're not increasing the money we need to give to our folks. We are not doing, like, it's stable. When does it get to us?
So the transmission mechanism is the challenge. You need broad-based policies. So, for example, if you look at the Nigerian economy, the way it's structured, the places that recruit the highest amount of people is agriculture and manufacturing. Telecoms is one of the giants in the economy as a composition of GDP, but it's not a heavy employer of labor. Banking, not. Financial services, not. So you need the areas where you can get that max employment. You need them functioning, which is why it goes back to power for manufacturing. You need enabling infrastructure for you to be able to have manufacturing that can be done in a cost or competitive form, such that the exports or the competing with imports would be, they could easily compete with imports. Then you need agriculture to work. Agriculture is another heavy employer of labor. You need also processing, which is where the value is also cut. That's where you can also employ a lot of people.
Yeah,
so you need
factories,
this,
all these factories, yeah.
So you need these areas to work, and you need intentional, very focused policy. So what we have now, I doubt if you will see that transmission to the poor. It will filter in over time. People would adjust, but a lot of people get into poverty. The things which are also like will I say, things that sort of the levelers is education. If you don't have good education for your entire population, your human capital just weakens every day. And it's what we're seeing. Then if you also don't have good healthcare, you're not able to keep your human capital. There's this whole conversation on milk. It's beyond even just milk. It's the entire diet of the poor.
Is the entire food chain. Is the entire food chain in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Down to even the fruits you buy from your
Exactly.
kabuki on the roadside. Like everything counts.
I was at which market and I saw, I can't remember, was it market? I saw, okay, it was video. Things from the market spoiled. I think bananas or oranges in large quantity. So what's going on with storage? So those are the key things.
And if you think storage, you think power.
You get it.
Power seems to be the denominator.
Bro,
I'll just quickly add. There's a chart that goes rounds on social media. They will circle it beneath you. Say there's no rich country that does not have stable energy. No rich country. So you see the development of nations. So the higher you are, the more you are towards the right end of the chart, it shows how much power, and you see the development of the country. So you see Nigeria is much here. It's on the back, on the left. Yeah. No
Why
country.
this issue troubles me a lot is because one of the unique things I would say one of the unique things people say about Nigeria is about like our human resources, right? Like people talk about like our population, our huge like young
Yeah,
population.
it should be an asset. Yeah.
So when we talk about this as being an asset, how do you maximize a young population when they are not productive?
Exactly.
That's just what troubles me the most. Like Nigeria is a very unproductive country,
Very.
right?
Very
And we have
idle.
this huge human resource. We have this fantastic young population that are not educated. They're not being properly educated. They're not, and that they're also not being productive because we don't have power to be productive. Imagine Nigeria as a 24-hour economy where there is lights everywhere and people are working all through the clock. This country is just going to change overnight.
And that's what
So
leads me to this whole-
it just keeps me wondering why power is not a it's like there's no a state of like there's no sense of urgency
It's not top of
in
mind.
fixing our power
Exactly.
windows. Like it frustrates me.
I don't know if you
It-
guys always read this Efina report, right? You know, when we're so
I
you're
only read
building,
the final reports about fintechs. I'm sorry.
and it's the one about fintech me I'm talking about. Efina is
Okay,
enhancing
okay.
financial inclusion and advancement, right? So we use this
Yes.
report in building when you're developing products in fintech. We usually use these reports to get an idea of the kind of audience you have, the customers you can have, and etc. One of the biggest revelations of these reports every year on year is the number of business owners. It keeps increasing, right? You see it there. And that's where, the likes of companies, these fintechs, like some of these fintechs have moved into business banking. That was the reason why they actually even moved into business banking. And most of them didn't go into B2C, right?
Mhm.
My point is that if you actually improve power, this number of businessmen that you have in this report will drop sharply.
Sharply because they
Because
go to bother. They have other
nobody
jobs
wants
to
to be a
go.
They will take
businessman.
on they
People
will take
want
up
to,
employment.
yes, people
Yeah.
want to work.
They'll take
Because
up
the,
employment
the
somewhere.
headache of doing all this business, because these business owners we're talking about, shop owners, people that do 200K turnover in a month, 250K
Online
Yeah. Or your
sellers.
social media commerce,
do you
e-commerce
understand?
and
Then the
social commerce
e-commerce
sellers. Yeah.
stuff going on, the small shop owner that you give POS, then that can be accepting payments. All these people will close all these businesses and will go and work. The problem is that there's no work. That's
There's
why
no
they set up this
alternative
thing.
for them. Yeah.
And then we get excited by all these numbers, but really, how long do these businesses last? These businesses we're
Yeah.
talking about,
What's the
how long do they
average
last?
duration? Yeah.
And with what has happened in the last 2 to 3 years now, most of these businesses have suffered.
Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly. So what you have is the sachetization of
Of entrepreneurship.
exactly.
It's overhyped.
Sounds
That's
like
what
an essay.
Such an entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
so that's what we have. It's if you look at one Money Point report too, it showed that a lot of people that were entrepreneurs was because they were out of employment.
They didn't have jobs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so everyone say I have an
Yeah.
Instagram business. So what you don't have is you don't have typically in a large economy, like what you should have in Nigeria is you have large companies. You have small, medium, then large companies. And then you're able to employ large volume of people and their specialization across. So what you now have is specialization in large entities. And then
Yeah.
you have large stores. You have large companies. So what we have, we don't have that because the economies of scale, it's difficult for people. Like now, if you're in the business of distribution, you're in trouble in Nigeria.
Supply chain logistics
It's
should be a thing in Nigeria.
so if
Do
you
you
are in
understand? Last mile delivery should be a thing in Nigeria.
exactly. So if you are in a developed economy, transportation is good, logistics is okay, so you have the muscle to do it. But in Nigeria, the costs are so everyone can, so it's a bit difficult. So what you
And
have in Nigeria is just a situation where there's a mushroom businesses all over the place.
Yeah.
And
Damn
that's
it, sorry.
that link between
So let me just go back to macro numbers a bit.
Yes.
You said the macros are looking good, right? Shout out
Yes.
to Tinubu for that. But we also have a 63% poverty rate figure. Which one are you more concerned about in terms of where Nigeria will be in the next 5 years? So if you have to choose between the macros and the poverty rates, which one are you hedging the future of Nigeria on?
Hmm.
Because they're telling two different stories.
Yes. Like we said, it
So
doesn't
it
trickle
just
down.
Yeah, so what it just means is a continuation of what we have, which is inequality will just continue. It's continue to get really well for other people and it's worsen for other people. So what you mean is social stress, all that pressure, that will be the
Yeah.
situation.
Damn.
If you're not able to turn the tide on the bottom of the pyramid with, like I said, levelers, education, social programs, healthcare, and you're not able to get power to work, be able to mass employment. Because what you need is you don't need everyone working. You need people with high school certification
Yeah.
working in places. That's what you need.
Industries. Yeah.
If you read, I think the time traveling economist, he captured what Britain did. Just mass employment of labor, cottage industry. If you can raise the literacy rates, if you can also lower the fertility, this birth population, that this giving birth
Yeah.
situation, yeah.
That we do in Nigeria. Yeah.
Once you can control for all
Work
those
no day,
things,
people go born.
once you can control for all those things, you can keep your macro stable. You are good. Your country will be on the right path. If you look at our peers, Indonesia's GDP is about 1.2 or 1.5 trillion. That's our pair. If you look at Brazil, that's our pair. Nigeria is trading at maybe what, $400 billion. Nigeria has no business being here with the population size and the market that we have in the region.
Geographical size.
No, we don't have any business in it. Nigeria is trading way below its potential. Way below.
Okay, let's go into this whole 2027 elections is coming. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, current president, is going for second term. Obviously, we've seen the posters, we've seen everything. The opposition has not declared who their candidates will be. The strongest opposition should be the ADC right now, right? And they've not officially declared who their candidate, but a lot of people are saying it might be Peter Obi. Some people are saying it's Atiku. If it's Peter Obi, right, there's the whole Peter Obi versus, or Tinubu versus Peter Obi debate going on. But from the finance bros perspective, right? They fall into like three buckets, which is the first
Okay.
one is Tinubu has done what nobody else has been able to do, and he killed subsidy, unified the FX window, he let the naira find its level. Execution was brutal, but direction was correct, which you alluded to just now. There are some other guys saying Peter Obi's 2023 consumption versus production critic has his point, and his point is you can't remove subsidy and keep borrowing heavily against, heavily, and it has aged well. He's never had to defend a plan against the reality of governing. And then there's another set of saying that both of them are just selling vibes. The reform story is mostly yield cashing portfolio flows, right? And that Peter Obi's critique is just populism in a suit. Where do you fall in these three buckets as a member of the finance bros?
So
Or you have legs in each bucket?
no, so if you look at the first camp,
Hold your nose and buy.
I mean, definitely as an investor, one of the things for us is we're not angry with the country.
I mean, you're agnostic to anything, right? Your own
Exactly.
business is business.
Take advantage.
Yeah.
So when you see opportunities, that's what we are hired for by our clients to do. So we see opportunity, take advantage. We're able to rotate some clients' opportunity from USD into Naira, take advantage of the high yield, and also get some of the gains in Naira. So that's our job. But so if you're asking as an investor, it's different from what the common man is experiencing with reforms. So like I said earlier,
So this proves my point, right? Investors are okay with what's going on. They really don't.
so when you listen to people on drinks and mics, some of them are speaking as investors, some of them are my guys. They're speaking as investors and they're just talking about the market. For example, if you look at the companies from 2023 when Tinubu came in, if you look at the stock market performance, it's wild.
It's
You
crazy.
convert that returns, even with the exchange rate devaluation during the period, you are seeing double-digit returns in USD.
It's
So
crazy.
this is huge. But you see a lot of
But
companies.
but but this performance of these companies, is it a reality or is this just
Yes,
numbers on
yeah.
paper?
So
Like, is this
beyond,
a reality? Are
yeah.
the companies actually performing that well?
So beyond what you call so when 2023, you know, one thing in companies is they pass on their costs. So 2023, when you had that slump in exchange rates, some companies entered losses, some FMCGs, some entered losses. MTN had a loss one time, but they all bounced out of it because what they just need to do is adjust prices and keep their margin steady. And so they've been able to pass these prices on to consumers. So you've seen their numbers. So you've seen their numbers actually, they are doing really well. Look at the banks, they've been able to raise the capitalization requirements, many of them. So it shows that there's even more muscle to even lend into the real economy. So there's a lot going on at those levels, and these companies are actually doing the numbers. You can see what's happening in the agri sector with Okomo Presco, what they are doing on the ground with backward integration and all. So Nigeria is a huge economy that you can't. There's a lot of money to be made. Nigeria, there's a lot of money. It's just what you have on social media is anger towards the government has been transferred to the country. So people are not separating the two. You have bad leadership or maybe not that good leadership, but you have a thriving economy. It's before the devaluation in 2014, Nigeria's economy was about $520 billion. If you had continued at that growth rate, we would probably be around $800 billion today, which would mean that our per capita then was around 3,500. Will probably be maybe around 5,000 today. So a lot of people that you are with, but today we are probably around $1,000. So a lot of people that have left the country probably have not left. The country is a rich country. The problem is mismanagement, not effective leadership. So back to the finance bros, the numbers are doing well. My clients are doing very well. Most of my clients are entrepreneurs. They are doing well. I have a client in oil and gas servicing, and in servicing, there's a lot of expansion and growth happening. So if you talk to Nigerian entrepreneurs, and if you see them tweet or stuff, people get emotional. They want them to criticize the country so badly because I understand it's not getting to them, but they're experiencing prosperity.
So it's two different realities right now.
Exactly. And that's why you have all these people that, that are saying, don't complain about the government, just do your own. No, you also have to hold leadership accountable because you don't have ambulance systems, healthcare is bad, security is bad. So you should be able to hold accountable, but still take advantage of opportunities. That's how we see it.
Nigeria is just a very complex place. Like, how can you make this much money and everything, and then you don't have an ambulance if
You
there's
get
a
it.
problem?
So it just shows you there's an absence of government. That's what we have.
Okay, question: are the finance bros going to support Tinubu or Peter Obi in? And I'm not saying specifically you because as an individual, we will have conversations. I know
Yeah.
where you lie with things and everything, but like generally, finance guys, financial advisors, the guys in the banks, the guys in those systems, as they're looking at everything, money is coming in. Everything is good. Are they going to? First of all, do they think we have Peter Obi is seemingly stringent with
Mm,
flows and everything? Do you
mm,
understand? They say
mm.
no shishi. I mean, what's the name of the whole campaign that goes around him and all of that? Do you think?
I know they give shishi.
I know they give shishi. Do you think the powers that be that are oiling this machinery, right, that's making money in the FX market, in real estate, FDI coming in, and is that machinery going? Because that machinery has to support somebody. That's the way it is. Which candidate is that machinery going to support? The APC candidate or the ADC candidate, whether it ends up with Atiku or Obi?
It's hard to tell. So I think if you're probably tied to the government right now and you are getting contracts from the government
I
and
mean,
you need,
that one is obvious.
yeah, I need those relationships to stay. Yeah, you definitely don't want any change in government. I think I don't see any, I don't know, because most of the reforms that Tinubu has done is probably what Obi too would have done in some form or way. I think the only difference is that Obi is more people-centered. If you look at how it governed Anambra, I think the guidance was SDG goals, school, children, hospitals, healthcare and all. So what if you have that type of governance that takes care of the bottom of the pyramid with everyone? I don't know about finance bros. I think they'll be okay with it because what they just want is they need a system to just predictability and continuity. They need markets to be predictable. They need things to be, that's all they need. I don't think the leadership particularly, I know because both of them are pro-capitalist. Obiutri is a capitalist. He believes in markets. He was chairman of Fidelity. He was once on the stock exchange. So he's a capitalist. What you just have is you want a person that can take care of security. You want a person that can ensure that you don't have hoodlums on the street. That is particular about maybe reforming them. You don't want
Reforming the
people,
police.
those type of things. So those things are good for markets. People like so finance bros, I think they'll be divided on their own personal convictions. You get when it comes to the ballot box, because I know some of them, and I know how they voted the last way. If you even look at the way the Nigerian voting pattern, if you look at Lagos and Abuja, that's where you have most of the, is the developed centers where you have more enlightened people. If you look at Etiosa, how they vote, if you look at what local government is Ikoyi? Is it Etiosa or
Yeah,
it's around Etiosa, yeah.
Yeah, so if you look at how they vote, the patterns.
Is Lagos Island now?
Yeah, so if you look at how they vote, they tend to vote. If you look at how Lagos voted, Abuja voted.
Lagos voted for Peter Obi.
Exactly. So the enlightened ones understand all the key indicators that a country should need.
Yeah.
But so I think finance bros, they might say a lot of things, but it, like I said, depends on personal conviction. Some just believe let Bola continue the reforms. Like his tax reform was a very good one. Very good for the country, very good for even companies, everyone. Like companies that we know, if you are below certain thresholds, you don't pay tax. That's really good. Those are really good things. Harmonizing the tax laws, and we're yet to see like proper implementation, But what they do with the taxes is also now very important, So I think
exactly.
people,
So things like that, right? Capital expenditure in these governments, parastatals, where the money goes, the corruption and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you nullify all of that, how much does that help Nigeria? Because it's a big thing when you see, the Senate president with a massive convoy. People are looking at that expenditure, how much these lawmakers take home. The question is, if you take all that away from them and saying everybody has to cut their coat according to their size, does that improve the economy in any way? That expenditure that goes into those places?
Yes. So one of the problems in Nigeria also, beyond even corruption, is wastage, then sometimes incompetence. So those are some of the things that you would experience. That's also drawing the country back. Maybe inconsistency in policy, wastage, corruption. If you can solve some of these things, and that's why I said, it flows from the top. It's one of the reasons why maybe Obi is not necessarily liked by the entire system, because if you are the top and not allowing wastage or permitting certain things, it'll be very difficult for it to flow to the bottom. Yeah, and you set the right tone. So if you can curb all these excesses, they help, because every naira counts. Wastage here could lead to save money, could build a hospital here, could build an MRI machine there, could build a school. There's no reason why you should have public officials enjoying so much largesse but not delivering for the people. So you've not sort of aligned their compensation with the impact. It's difficult. I don't know how these things are really done in democracies, but if you look at certain countries, when you have people-centered leadership, especially in Asia, I don't like to look at the West, particularly the USA, because that's a money-centered system. So you have to look at the East and look at how they've been able to deliver. Look at Iran, a country that has been under sanctions. Look at the infrastructure they have. They have things that Nigeria can only dream of. Subways, metros,
Did you see the video of the train tracks and the train tracks they blew up and they built it in 85 days?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a society. Iran is number of engineers in the country. I think they are number 5 in the world, highest number of engineers.
I think I shared this in the group the other day. I said I saw an infographic saying a country will prosper if they have engineers, if they have accountants, if they have industrialists.
Yeah.
That if you have more of that, the country will improve. Once
Yeah.
you don't have that, and you then
Yeah.
have lawyers,
Is finance,
philosophers,
yeah,
and all these things, you're not going anywhere.
yeah. In fact, you need now. I would even say engineers and philosophers. You need thinkers in your society. You need people doing deep thinking, people that are saying, identifying, unifying the body of knowledge, people that can think strategically. You need those type of people in your country. But what we have in Nigeria is just rent seekers. People come, people go. You don't have deep thinkers. So back to what you were saying. If you can cut down on corruption, you can align the leadership's their compensation with output performance. Like, look at the local governments. It's one of the things I also want to do. I want to get once night. I want to know who my local government chairman is. I also understand what are his responsibilities to my local government. So it starts with also holding, because everybody's pointing at the president. The governors are getting more allocation now, and nobody's asking any questions. Look at Lagos State. Look at other states, Ogun State. Look at Bayelsa.
And this is where you get the quick wins, right?
Yes.
Because if you take all that money that they are throwing away or being corrupt, stealing and everything, and use it to build like those local infrastructures, these are the quick wins that first help people.
Exactly.
You understand? If everybody has access to what? Like subsidized health insurance. If there's proper reform in police department where they are properly taking care of salaries and increase, they have access to life insurance, health insurance, etc. Like these are the first quick wins that, removes that level of frustration away from people.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if you set up a lot of things, power and all those things, people don't need to earn that much to actually be okay.
Yeah,
why
because
there's a fight for resources right now as a young person that earns 250K is that you have to sort your power out yourself. You have to invest in solar. You probably have to pay extra money for security in the area while you don't need to. And some of these other local amenities that should have been sorted out or subsidized because they can. And that's it.
Yeah, so I know. So one of the things you want to do as a country is, like I said, going back to inflation, 250K is okay, but when you have prices jumping too quickly, so if you look at advanced countries, they've tied everything together. They understand the importance of inflation. They know that number is tied to so many things. It's tied to one, the employer. First of all, the company. They know if prices go up too much, it means that wages are going to go up.
Which is a problem.
It's a problem. Profits are going to be affected. So that's one. The government knows that if prices go up too quickly, rental prices will go up. It means
people can afford to pay for rent.
It means that exactly. So you can see how everything is tied together. Food. So they try to make sure prices don't get out. That's why you saw during the pandemic. No, when the Russia-Ukraine war started, and we're just coming out of the whole pandemic, supply chain restrictions, and then we saw US inflation go as high as 8 or 9%. It was alarming. They were calling for the central bank governor's head multiple times. But Nigeria inflation got to 34. Senate didn't even call. There's no connection. Because
that's the problem.
Senate,
no connection.
Senate doesn't understand it.
There's no connection. And it goes back to this education you're talking about. The people in the Senate are not educated enough to understand that inflation numbers play a huge role.
No, it's not that they're not educated. They don't care because it's not aligned, because Nigeria we don't hold our senators accountable, representatives. Their relationship is not there. People are asking senator, Which bridge? You didn't do bridge. What?
Yeah,
Senator
exactly.
can't.
Senator can't be doing.
He's a legislator. What you're meant to be pushing through him is policy. That's what you should be pressing. But we don't have that. So the relationship is disconnected because the senator doesn't feel any pressure. So there's no pressure he's going to take to the
Because
CBN.
they're not asking him any questions. They don't ask any senator.
There's even a real question to ask if like we're educated enough for democracy. It's a very important question to ask. Like as we as Nigerians, are we educated enough to participate in democracy? Because this thing that he mentioned now is very right. Is so correct. I've never seen a Nigerian ask the senator or the House of Rep member representative about a policy. It's about how much he has distributed, food items he's sharing in December or during
welfare.
Christmas or the festive period, welfare, and maybe if they go if they want to stretch the request, is infrastructure.
So
do you get?
Absolutely right. And then I'm looking at it now. I'm tying it back to the syllabus in our educational system, right? We're not clearly taught about democracy and the roles of the people or the roles of the democratic players. We're not taught about it. We're not taught about learning about the Senate, the National Assembly, the House of Rep. It took me some time. I had to go and really get the structure and learn it and say, okay, this is what's going on. Because we're not taught anywhere. And if we're not taught these things,
government. Yeah.
Do you understand? Oh, I didn't even take government as an elective in secondary school. Which I think alone, for something as important as democracy, everybody should be doing government.
Yes.
Including science students and whatever.
The fundamental of government, everybody should do it. Yeah.
So the people in the educational sector too, they have to really think about it. You are saying that somebody should be a scientist and work in that space in science, whether you end up being a physicist, a microbiologist, or whatever, but you have no idea what goes on in government, which affects your daily life every day.
Exactly. It's the thing with even with finances and things that matter to you the most. Nobody teaches you. They just tell you go to school, become a doctor, but how to live life because you have to understand that you're learning this skill to earn an income, and inflation is going to keep climbing, so I need to keep growing. I need to be able to save. I need to diversify. Nobody tells you all those things.
You go through art school. You go as an art student. You go and study whatever or science. You don't have any idea what finance is.
Yes. So to government, and are we ready for? Steve's question about democracy. Educated enough. I looked at it. I just did some rough reading, and I was saying most countries that developed, like industrialized and all, were they practicing democracy at the time? And the research has shown that the answer is no. Many of them were either one monarchy, authoritarian, something, a different system that made them mobilize quickly, because you need to be able to move without.
You have to skip a process.
Exactly. Too much debating.
China is a clear example.
Yeah. So if you look at what China did, China was able to. It was difficult. China unified under Mao, and then China began its growth, sort of direction and education under Deng Xiaoping. Deng Xiaoping is actually the champion of China's growth. And then you had the other two guys, and then you now had Xi Jinping. So unified China, grew China, and then securing China. So they have what you call central planning. And what we're saying is, it goes back to the mindset I was saying, is it people-centered leadership? Are you thinking for the people? If you don't think for the people, if you're not saying this policy is to ensure that people can live like this. Like, I look at Nigeria, your educational policy. What are you trying to achieve? So anytime I look at any presidency that comes out and says, what are you trying to achieve? You should be able to say, I want my people thinking in a certain way. So I need to start imputing these things in them from nursery and primary. I need them
I'm doing the soft core, I'm doing the hard core.
Exactly.
Can I give you guys an example, please?
Yeah.
Geographically, China is bigger than the US. Geographically, China has 5 different time zones. Should have. Do you know how many time zones China has? 1. All 5, they said 1. China has only one official time zone, known as the Beijing time, UTC
Everybody's
+8,
on the same time.
despite geographically spanning 5, adopted in 1949 to promote national unity and administrative simplicity. This means clocks read the same nationwide, though this causes some extreme solar time differences in west regions like Xinjiang, where the sun rises can occur as late as 10 a.m. Official
They don't
time,
care.
no daylight saving, nothing.
Nothing.
Do you understand?
We move
Because
as one. We wake up as one. We sleep as one.
do you understand? They say sunlight will come at 10 a.m. It means you have to work already. Work don't dey happen. The sun just dey
Yeah.
come. They don't want to know. Everybody the same time because what? Administrative simplicity and promote national unity. That's a country that is ready to move ahead. We will still be. Why do we have 2 days of Islamic religion and holidays? Why do we have 2 days? It's because up north and south, someone will say they've not seen the sun at this time. Then that's why it's always 2 days. It's because they can't agree to 1 day. Abi, please correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know. I just think
every
of,
other place is always 1 day. It's always 1 day. National, globally, it's always 1 day.
I think public holidays in Nigeria, like religious public holidays, are 2 days because Easter 2 days, Christmas 2 days, everything is 2 days. That's how I see it.
So they now say everything should just be 2 days.
Everything should just be 2 days. That's how I see it. You know,
Because that one is
tying back to this democracy thing. The established countries, the democratic countries, like the West, let me put it that way, we should understand that they came up with this system by themselves. They evolved through other economic framework before they landed on democracy.
Yeah, governmental
this
framework.
is what suits us the best. Do you get? We didn't get to choose. We were just given this model to say you take and try and run with it. It's not working, but you know, it's not in my place to say we should go. Considering what we have passed through with the likes of, you know, especially in the military rule. But it's a very important conversation to have anyway. To be very interesting. It's very. It's frustrating because, like Dami mentioned, a president should come and say, okay, this is what I want this country. This is what I want our people to be thinking in the next. But the problem is that instantly people are asking you, which road have you built or something like something that's not really. And that's my problem with Nigeria. Nigeria is being run as if, like the way our leaders run Nigeria, they run it as if the country is already working. So let me just come and continue the work that another person has done. No. We need like nobody is coming in to say, how do we reset this country? How do we start again?
And even
that's the problem.
And even if somebody comes in and does that, the person only has at most 8 years.
When you supposed to have like 30 years.
Do you understand? Because another said, look at what happened in when Donald Duke was governor. Which state is that? Cross River State, right?
Cross River.
Look at what happened.
Fantastic years.
Did everything. The next guy came in and abandoned everything.
So that's the thing.
The whole thing.
So that's the thing. I think about it and I say, you don't have that continuity. Like I was saying about education. If you look at China, when Deng Xiaoping came in, education in China, they sent guys to the US. They started feeding them some form of nationalism in their education, their diets, teaching them. If you look at Japan, they started teaching them things like honesty, integrity. Those things were fed into. That's why you see the Japanese. They are all about. They're all about sort of like respect. Yeah, honor. Those things are very important to their values. So the question I ask myself is that, what's the Nigerian government?
Value?
What are the values that you are imputing in these people that you're going to say 10 years after we are seeing the impact, 20 years after we are seeing this nationalistic driven. If you look at Nollywood, I look at Nigeria and I say, the government left the image of ourselves.
Yes,
just left
in the hands of businessmen.
No, not just businessmen.
Culturally illiterate people. Culturally illiterate people.
Creative people just to decide. You don't do that.
That's the point I'm trying to make, Dami. They were not even creatives. I've said it on this podcast.
They were businessmen.
I'll consider myself an evil person. They left it on the hand of Igbo businessmen. There's no creative
for
there,
over a
bro.
decade.
Bro,
For a decade.
whole video from 92 to 2003, 2004. It was run by Igbo men.
And it destroyed the reputation of this country.
They destroyed, bro. Go to African countries.
And fed Nigerians.
That's a narrative. Yes.
Fed Nigerians. How will I put it? Fed Nigerians a way of thinking to the point where, and this thing, this thing went into, bro. This thing transitioned into, what you call it, fashion. It transitioned into why women wear wigs.
Money culture.
It's money culture.
Money worshipping.
At some point, money worshipping. At some point, they just stuck on blood money, and
blood money.
Yeah. So
our governments were just looking at them. No intervention, no collaboration, nothing.
Most Africans thought of Nigerians.
Yes.
So you left your national image, your soft power. you just left it.
This is insane.
So you see what I was trying to say, that Nigeria suffers more from its incompetence, not even corruption. Corruption is everywhere.
I agree.
Even in China, there's corruption. You have guys at the top.
Everywhere.
But you see, the corruption in China is that they are allocating to industries where they know, this is what we want to, but they get some kickbacks. But they know this is the industry, these are the things we need to be doing.
Yes.
We need to do.
In Nigeria, there's incompetence. You build an airport, but you don't think, what's the last mile? Okay, is this it's all about just build project, white elephant, steal money. If you even look at our corruption, it's very crude. The ones that put
dollar in their back,
it's
very, very crude.
Sophistication. So you leave your Nollywood, you leave your music, you leave it to. So what is now entering the body of your society is left at. So a country that's very serious. You manage your education. You know what you're imputing into them. You know what's also going through the media.
Because that's what frames national orientation.
Consistently. So not just through NTA, but you're consistently putting certain things into the mind. So then you're shaping your own internal national policy so that's what you can now project outside.
Right.
Nigeria, you allow your citizens to think a certain way about other countries. You allow yourself to be seen as, and it's because also your work doesn't
marketers from Iweka Road.
It doesn't mark your work. Doesn't mark your talk. For example, remember when Dora was doing rebranding of Nigeria?
Yes.
Yeah, Dora. Yeah.
Rebranding is good, but you see, if the common man is not seeing, they need to be seeing certain things. They need to see government at their place. They need to see, new government has come in. They're seeing some projects going on, and they're telling you, it's just like Tinubu's government, renewed hope. But you're now seeing projects, you're seeing things. Then the guy is giving you updates, renewed hope, what we're doing. Then you can shape, if Tinubu was even shaping Nigeria's policy based on, principles of AWO, that education, capitalism. Let's hang on to something. Give us something to be, you don't, there's
dream
nothing.
about.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's really, so it's left to Aliko Dangote trying to be shaping industrialization on his own.
Industrialization.
You just look at Nigeria, that you guys, the incompetence, I just feel like if you don't look at Rwanda, you might not agree with Kagame and his style, but you can see the way he has shaped his country. Don't mess around in that place. Okay. It's a secure,
Fafo.
Aha.
Look at the Visit Rwanda campaign he's done with Arsenal. I think, in fact, there was I think it's the Champions League, and they said
the three Champions League semi-finalists.
The three Champions League semi-finalists all have the Visit Rwanda badge on their jerseys.
That's a serious country now.
And whether we like it or not, those kind of things, you see it.
How much did those deals cost? Did they cost Did they cost as much as the money that we spent on PRO for the Christian genocide thing? These are important questions to ask now, because you give money to one PRO company in America, $9.3 million, Abi. Okay.
Yeah. Side note, just speaking about this soft power and everything, you can now see how some Nigerians want to behave like Koreans, because Korea has fed the image of K-pop and K-drama to the world. And if you don't have an internal shield, you just have to see people speaking Korean for no reason in Nigeria.
But for real, there's a Korean culture in Nigeria, to be very
There
honest.
is.
Really? Bro, they
There
shot
is.
a Korean movie last year in Nigeria. Nigerians
Yeah.
were speaking Korean in the movie.
There's a Korean culture. This series, they watch these things.
Wow.
They judge
Because
British standard
they've
way
done
of
it with
life.
K-pop, bro.
Yeah.
There are some K-pop artists. I think they're called Blackpink or something,
Yeah.
right? That my kids, my daughter watches and likes their stuff. They are just, you know what they're doing? They're just cosplaying hip-hop artists.
That's what they do.
All the things they say, all the gesticulation, all the dress, they're just
Everything.
cosplaying hip-hop artists. I am very sure there are people sitting down designing that whole thing and telling them this is
Bro,
what they, you know.
It's a governmental. It was something the government did from the mid-90s to push Korea forward. So that didn't even happen. It didn't happen by happenstance or anything.
You see what we're talking about?
Yeah.
You see, any society, it's just the Pareto principle. You have 20% of the people who are the lead thinkers. Those are your elites in society. That's what they call the elite people. They are the elite thinkers that say they are not the common guys. They are the ones that shape where are we seeing this country going, and they're the ones that shape it. So you have people, your think tanks, your different bodies that your government consults, and this is our thinking. And that's why I say it goes back to like our philosophy. What is our philosophy as Nigerians? If you go and look at our education, it's very Western centered. From there, you're already browbeaten. You think you are inferior. You don't know much of your history. So you can't really, that's why it's hard to beat the Iranians, because they know who they are. There's a lineage. They know there's history. So you look at Nigeria, we don't have a history of ourselves. Our history is very...
We can't even admit to what happened
Yes.
in the Civil War.
Civil War.
How do we want to move forward?
Then we read our history through the white man's lens.
Of course.
So it's a bit...
How did I read about the military era? It was through a white man, Max Ono.
Exactly. Yeah, so...
because the black man will refuse to write the whole damn freaking thing because he does not want to write something about his brother or something, or, you know.
You understand? So you just look at it and say, those are the things that need to be done in a serious country. You work on your history. You try... Then, if you look at Mao united China. He closed off China because the Chinese were being picked apart by different Western powers, and they were badly... They call it the century of national humiliation. From around 1840s to the 1940s, China was humiliated by Western powers, the British, the French, the Americans, the Japanese. So they understood that we needed to kick all these guys out. We needed to close off China. They did it, bad reforms, people died, famine and all. But he united China, which goes back to what you mentioned about one time zone. It's about uniting China. So if you look at Nigeria...
Do you know how crazy it is to have one time zone in China?
Yes.
China is
In that
bigger
huge
than
country.
the US
Yes.
geographically.
And the thing is, if you don't unite your country, and that's why every development, when I look at Nigeria, you just look, the politics, they're not serious, because you need to give people a sense of being in Nigeria. You need Nigeria to supersede their tribe. You need them to say, I'm Yoruba, but I'm Nigerian. It has to be, I'm Nigeria first. How do you put in Nigerian first into their minds? It's education, social studies. They need to be seeing how the tribes are distinct but unite. They need to be seeing it over and over and over and over and over. That's how you program it into their heads. The music, the films they are seeing. That's how you promote national unity. You need people to, so that you stop having this north-south divide, all this Igbo, Yoruba. You don't need that. You need look at Rwanda after that civil war.
There's no Hutus and Tutsis. There's nothing.
That's what you need. You need one common page, one goal.
We were still dealing with state of origin. Do you understand? How can I be born in a state, lived all my life in that state, paid taxes to that state, but you say I'm not from that state?
No, I think that should be updated to state of residence.
Do you understand? Can I ask a question? What is the purpose of state of origin for somebody who is an adult?
What's
the point? What's the point that I'm from a state? Like, after, what's the whole... I'm trying to understand the point.
I mean, I think it's an outdated thing. You can have state of origin, but as an adult, you need state of residence because it's where you reside, you pay taxes. That's what's important. It's because we have not been accustomed to, taxes. There's not... Nigeria, we don't have that relationship with the government. Here, in advanced countries, there's a straight line. I pay my taxes here, so these guys are accountable to me because they're allocating my money. We don't have that yet because we don't, first of all, we're not paying taxes, we're getting oil rent, whatever was taken, we felt like, oh, government must take it. So we don't know. There's not, that relationship doesn't exist.
Man, it's a long way ahead. Before we move on to the next thing we want to discuss about, let's just talk about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's recent speech. He gave a speech recently. I don't know where he was, but these excerpts have been going viral.
I didn't have to look back because the truth is, I took over for myself. The late Buhari is me. He was a partner. And if I took over from him, is that not from myself? So, if something is wrong, fine. Live with it, correct it, move on. The life voyage is not going to be easy. And so many of you that are traveling with me, I can only stand before you and say you will not regret it. This is a That is why we ask you to renew their hope. If they don't want to see the hope and the roads that we bridge and the children we raise and the economy we are growing, we lend them Jiggy Bola. We give them eyeglasses. I can assure you, this is whatever you say I do. But one thing that you need from me is a promise that I won't run away from the affair.
There you have it. I think, you watch something like this, right? And then you look at the macro, and then it's like he's seeing the macro and seeing the numbers grow and everything. And he's clearly detached from reality of like the average people. And it's very easy to be detached from the reality of average people, even if you live in Nigeria, but you're in a position as high up as that. Because you can't see, because what you even see at some point is being controlled. At some point, as the president, what you can get is reports from people. You can't see it. You understand? You are the average guy that takes the bus and sees the reality of people when you drive through the streets. And even for people who stay in Lagos, right? We walked in Lagos, a lot of us, Ayo stays in Lagos, right? Is that we don't even know the true extent of what is going on in Nigeria. There are some places they will tell you in Nigeria, they don't have a transformer. They've never experienced power. When I first learned of there are places in Niger Delta that they've not experienced darkness because of constant gas flaring, I was surprised. Constant gas flaring, so they've never experienced darkness because it's always bright. So some of these realities, and this is also average Joes, not to talk of a president, he's seeing the macro, but he's not seeing the micro, and he can't understand. I said, so who is the team around him saying this is what the average man has access to? This is what the inflation rate has been. These things are just, idea, like, So he genuinely believes what he's saying. And shout out to everybody there clapping. Psychophants.
You have to clap, bro.
Psychophants. They are naming churches and cathedrals after them. We're the highest point of psychophancy that we've experienced in a long time since Abacha. That's where we are right now because everybody's just like, let's go with the flow. Anyways, since you're here, people want to know, people who listen to this podcast, and I believe people that listen to the podcast go from age range 20 to as high as 50, right? They want to know what they should be investing in right now. And let me give you some context, right? So you don't just give us some financial advisor context. Break it down for us, like life stage, because a 24-year-old on 150K a month and a 42-year-old with kids in school are completely different conversations here. Like, be honest with us. If someone earns around 300K a month, what is the first account they should open? What is the biggest mistake you see young people make when they hit their first 1 million naira in savings? Walk us through it. Should they be doing some T bills, FGM bonds? Should they do the money market funds like ROIs, PiggyVest, RiseVest, NGX equalities? Should they be investing in US stocks through Bamboo or Shaka? We talk about some of these things on the pod. People are genuinely curious. And we, I mean, I'll speak for myself here, right? I used to be an earner of this amount of money at some point, and for me it was, oh, I remember that time. I think it was Steve and I that would go to Stanbic, and when we go and we'll buy the dollar, then we'll go and put it in the money market fund because that's the only way you could fund the account back then, and all of that. So what should people be doing now? What do you think? If you earn around 300K, then if you hit your first 1 million in savings, what should you be doing? I know
Okay.
these are not your clients, these are these are lower market, but yeah.
No, the principle, one thing about it, the principle stays the same. It's just that you get bigger, it gets more complex. But yeah. So 300K a month in Nigeria. So what you want to start with is you have to see them in buckets and say, first of all, do I have an emergency fund? That's the first thing you must start with. And what's an emergency fund? Emergency fund is one that will take care of emergencies uh, and just in case you lose your job. So you want to be able to have at least 6 to 12 months of, I say 6 months for employees, for business people, 12 months of your monthly expense. So you want to estimate how much you spend every month, inclusive of rent, every other important expense, calculate it and see, okay, this is what I really need to, such a way that your lifestyle doesn't drop. So you know how much you need to save. Then just save 6 months of it. You want to put that in a money market fund. You can put the money market accounts. There's Cowrywise, there's Stanbic Money Market, there's FBM Money Market, the whole money markets in the world. I mean, in Nigeria, there's ARM, there's the whole PiggyVest, all those things. What you want with an emergency fund is one that you can easily get your money out quickly. So you don't want to save it in anything that it will be difficult to get the money out. And you also don't want to invest it in something that's sort of variable, fluctuates in value. So you want it safe, secure. So 300K a month, try and save every month, put something aside into your emergency fund. That's the first thing you should do. Then in terms of investment, so you want to sort of provide for the emergency fund, and then for investment, you can start doing other things. For example, with 300K a month, you can start to expose yourself to the equities market. So investing, you have to think about it in their stages and also determine your circumstance. Like every time people ask me, oh, what should I do? I always say it depends. That's usually the financial advisor's response because you need to know the person's personal circumstance. So, but averagely, say average Joe, once you sort out your emergency fund, you want to start putting some money into the future. So if you're young, you want to start putting money into the equities market because your chances of your need for capital or cash might not be as high because you're earning, you're young, so you're putting money aside. So you want to start putting money into a bit of money market and a bit of equities market. So you can go through the Nigerian Stock Exchange, you can go through Bamboo, different platforms to access the stock market. Now, if you're not very savvy on how to pick stocks and all, in some cases, I think there are ETFs that you can buy on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. I think Vertiva there's some ETFs that will give you a broad market exposure. So there's the NSE 30, there's the Vertiva Index, ETF that can give you exposure to maybe a sector or maybe a broad, maybe the top 10 biggest companies. You can expose yourself. If you want to go through a deep dive and you want to go and select securities yourself, You probably need to do more analysis on that. You can get to that as we go on. So you want to start with safety, put a bit into your money market fund, and put a bit into the equities market. And then as you go on, you also want to have a dollar component to your investments. Because of the country we live in, like I said, with inflation at 15%, you're always going to have the devaluation. It's going to come. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So you also want to start diversifying part of your portfolio into that. Now, the biggest mistake people make that have with 1 million naira in savings, some of the things they sometimes face is concentration risk, maybe going into one particular investment without diversifying. So typically, how wealth is made is concentration and then diversification. Look at Aliko, started with maybe sugar, grew it, built it, then moved into cement, grew it, built it, moved into another one, then grew it, built it. So it needs to start with one. But when you're investing, because your cash is small, you also want to just spread it a bit. You also want to sort of spread it a bit before now concentrating later, because the concentration is usually where the larger bets are. Look at how Buffett made, I think they put $20 billion, about 20 or $30 billion in Apple, and it grew to about $120 billion. So when you're on a big scale, you can make those large bets, put money. But when you're starting out, start with the things that are simple that you understand. So the money market is good now because it's offering you a positive real return. It's higher than the inflation rate. So it's a good one. And then you can build your equities portfolio. So someone starting out, you also have to understand your risk profile. It's some of the things we do for our clients. We ask you 10 questions to determine the type of investor you are. So you could be a conservative investor, a moderate investor, a balanced investor, a growth investor, or an aggressive investor. Based on the type of investor that you are, it will determine your asset allocation. It will determine the mix of equities and fixed income you have in your portfolio. Now, I use equities and fixed income at the lower level they're just they're like two broad asset classes that other things could be in it. But just to speak plainly here, so if you're a conservative investor, it might mean that you might have more of your money, maybe 70 or 80% of it in fixed income or money market securities and 20% in equities or in USD, something like that. And then at the extreme, aggressive investor, you're going in all in equities. So sometimes it's at stage of life. For example, some of my clients that are in their 30s, they are usually between balanced and growth investors. Because at that stage of life, you're in your accumulation stage. So your earning potential is high and you're growing. But when you get to clients I have that are probably like 60 plus, you could tell that they are now more either balanced or conservative. Their focus then is stability, preservation, and income. But if you're investing for a child, say 5-year-old, 10-year-old, and you want to put like education fund for the child, you want to be very aggressive from the beginning. So you want to do all the aggressive type of stocks. So you can even beyond even Nigerian stocks, you go to global markets and you can put more AI companies, companies with high potential but a lot of volatility. Aha. But so it's depending on one the person's personal circumstances. Do they have dependents that they are taking care of? If you have dependents, it means that you need to have a huge amount in your emergency fund just in case there's a demand you can draw down.
And then your risk appetite has to drop a bit because if you lose the money, there are a lot of people that are depending on that money.
Exactly.
You know, once they say, daddy put all the money on crypto and he all left.
Exactly. So those are the things. So the biggest mistakes too, if you must have some dollar exposure in your portfolio. Every Nigerian must have some dollar exposure in your portfolio.
Tell us about your company, Wealth Heart, and the kind of clients, because I believe on loose stock too, we get some big men now. Some big men they hear loose stock, and they're also looking at to come into the country again. We talked about it, how the the market in stabilized countries don't give you a mouth-watering yield, right? Unlike in Nigeria, your iPad is about to die off, right?
Yes.
I know. I noticed that you're switching to mobile. Okay, so we can see you on mobile now. Just need to
Okay.
connect you. Yeah, super. So tell us about your company, Wealth Hearts, and the
Okay.
clients who you work with and who can reach out to you and how they can reach out to you as well.
Okay, so Wealth Art is a wealth advisory and financial planning firm for high net worth individuals. Our focus is on Nigerian high net worth individuals, and our what we do for our clients is we look at a 360-degree view of our clients, comprehensive view. So one of the things that I found out when I was working back in investment management was nobody did like the last mile for the client. They will just say, asset managers just say, oh, we have 20%. Oh, our product is 10%, 15%. And you just see clients shopping for returns. But the question I had to ask clients was, what does 20% mean in your overall plan? What does 20% mean? So because you get 20%, how does that affect like your goals? So what we do for our clients is we look at them and we try to establish like goals, financial goals. What are you trying to achieve? Where are you going? And then we try to help you on other areas that you're probably not thinking about, like beyond, because everyone's just thinking growth of their funds, but they don't think about asset protection, wealth transfer, estate planning, risk management. So, and these things, they are more prevalent with high net worth individuals. Your regular individual, yes, has some things that some financial planning that could be done, but that's not our focus. Our focus is on people with more complexities. So Welter tries to
Like
help.
like them Herbert Wigwe.
Yes, yes, yes. So that's our focus because Nigerians work so hard to earn what they earn, and they just leave everything to hope. There's no plan. So if you notice when people die in Nigeria, there's no will in place, just leaves a mess behind. So what we try to do is we try to make sure your wealth and your legacy is well planned for during and after your demise, while you're alive and when you're gone. So we try to make sure your wealth. I mean, there are some real estate billionaires. There was one that the building collapsed on him and family crisis, brothers, everything. So Nigeria hasn't really matured yet. We're getting to that point where your point of contact should not be straight to an investment firm. It should be to a financial advisor. So a financial advisor will open your eyes to the entire picture of things you should be considering. Because many people don't think of it that when you die, what happens to your body? What happens to taking care of your grave, where you'll be buried, things that have your personal items? We just leave everything a mess behind. So some of the clients we work with, we found out that these are wealthy people in Nigeria, but no plan in place, nothing, no. So some of them are the breadwinners of the home, no life insurance. So
Hmm.
if the guy dies, the family is destroyed. The lifestyle of the entire family just changes. So we our job is what we do is we look at all these things, risk management, ensuring you have a will, making sure you have a trust. For some of our clients, clients have assets outside the country. How do you tie those assets all together that your beneficiaries can make use of them? So those are the things we do for our clients. We help them with the investment. So everybody focuses more on the investment part, which is asset allocation, security selection, diversification, returns, and nobody focuses on the non-investment aspect, which is the planning aspect, wealth transfer, setting up the estate, ensuring maybe there's life insurance just in case you're the breadwinner of the house. Nobody looks at even planning currently, how to invest. how to
A
go
lot of
about
people
it.
just focus on real estate, right?
Exactly. Then
Yeah.
also, another thing is nobody focuses on tax. Is not a big deal in Nigeria. It's one of the things we're also doing for our clients. Tax planning advisory. We work with partners in that space where we're able to help people with, like, planning their taxes, ensuring you don't meet certain thresholds, and that reducing your tax exposure locally and also abroad. For example, we have a client that bought a property for £2 million in the UK. He bought it in his name. Now, he had bought it in his name before we found out, before we started working with him. What that means is if he dies today, his children will need to cough up inheritance tax of £800,000.
To be able to get the
You need,
property.
yes, for title to change and for them to get it. They will guess.
£800,000.
So these are mistakes that Nigerians do.
My God. And you know, we were anyhow with the whole thing. So what should have your client, what should the client have done?
So there are different vehicles he could have used. He could have used, say, a trust to have held the property such that he will name the children as beneficiaries to the trust, and the assets will be, he will have bought it in the trust. So the assets will be in the trust, but the kids will be beneficiaries to the trust. So they continue to enjoy and use the value of and it keep going down in the bloodline or generation, just continue to name more beneficiaries to it. So those are smart vehicles. For example, there's a client of ours now that we're working with, and she has assets in South Africa, Dubai, and in the UK. So we're trying to use a foundation structure to hold some assets. And you also have to understand that different jurisdictions, different laws. So in Dubai, it's quite different. So you also have to be able to use. So then another thing is he has a son that is a US citizen. That changes the game entirely because US tax laws,
it's different.
it taxes worldwide income of US citizens. So when the child comes of age, there are certain filings that need to be done. So we need to consult a US cross-border tax attorney to know, because when she gets a certain age and if those assets are passed on to her, she would pay 40% on the worldwide assets to the US government.
What?
So those are the things, and that's why when some of the things we also advise our clients, also things like residency, citizenship type of passports. Because so when people say, "Oh, I want a passport," we ask you, "What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to achieve mobility? Or are you trying to solve for residency?" Then we look at what are the tax implications of having this passport. So when people say, "Oh, I want my child to be a US citizen," you have to understand that this is who, and this is what you're going to do for. This is what you are causing the child to become, and the child doesn't know. You don't know. So now for this particular client, we're trying to set up a foundation in Jersey that would exclude the daughter completely from the assets, but will name her as a beneficiary within the foundation charter. So these are the things. So Nigeria isn't that sophisticated yet, but we have people that are making a lot of wealth. So what we are doing is closing that gap, doing the planning, doing all these complex structures, from simple things like investing, and other things like even broadening their portfolio. For example, clients should be exposed to crypto, but they don't know how to go about it.
They don't know how to have a wallet. They don't know anything.
Exactly. So, but wealthy people that should be exposed naturally to it. For example, there was a client of ours that just had $1 million in the bank in GTB, not doing anything.
Just $1 million, just chilling.
Just sitting. And
how much was the person making off $1 million per year, per annum?
No money.
What?
The bank wasn't paying you anything.
What?
Yes. He's in oil and gas. He earned the money, left it there. Now you look at the bankers. That's why there's a huge opportunity for us. And that's why there's a huge demand for some of the things we are doing.
Because the bank was using that money and just trading with that money.
Yeah, but the banks didn't even think, and which is what something Shola Paystack has mentioned, that banks are sitting on a lot of information. But banks are not able to give you, they're not able to even sell more services to you. For example, that type of client, you should know, okay, these are you studied his account, these are the outflows, these are the inflows. Nobody has even sat down with the client and said, what are your planning needs? What are the things? How invested are you? How diversified are you? Okay, you're exposed to oil and gas. We should ensure that your portfolio should not contain oil and gas stocks. All those types of planning, nobody's doing it. So you just see the RMs, they just come and see the client, smile with him,
Man, banks
chase,
are useless, man.
fine girl, they just laugh. So one of them didn't like me because when I met the client,
Because your MPRA asking you how much have you bringing, how much is your client bringing in. As long as the money is in the account, they don't care.
exactly,
That's Nigerian banks for you.
exactly. So they are incentivized to mobilize deposits.
Just
You
drop the
get.
money in the account. Just leave the
So
money in
one
the
of the things
account.
that wealth has is, and which is why we're a fiduciary, and fiduciary means acting in your best interest, is that we're able to take a discerning view around you and say this is what is your best interest.
It
So
means
how would
the bankers and co won't like you guys.
yeah. The RMs didn't like me. The lady, she didn't like me for a while, but later we became friends because she saw the impact and she even referred the client. She saw what we were doing and it was really good. And so how we see ourselves is we're in between the client and the entire financial services industry. So we're able to make very informed decisions. There's some clients I've met, they've made double investments, the same product, but they didn't know. It's different names of fund, but same product. They have situations where clients are investing in funds that they're charging some very high fees. I won't name the bank or the institution, but they're charging 2% management fees. I was just like, what are you doing? What was the returns on the investment? About 4-5%. We're able to take the investment out for a lower custody fee of I think 0.1%, and we're able to invest at 13%. So you can see how we improve the yield for our customers.
How do you have these many people who are high net worth individuals with billions of naira and are uneducated to this level? How?
No, so what you
Is
have
this a
is,
global phenomenon or is this a Nigerian phenomenon?
so it goes back to, it's more Nigerian because a lot of things in Nigeria are not, they're still very basic. That's why when people want to throw Nigeria under the bus, I say, no, Nigeria is a gold mine. Nothing has been built. I worked in investment management. I know how relationship managers, I know how much their capacity is. You just bring in some bunch of people, say, go and sell, go and bring deposits, go and, but you're not able to show them the alignment to, which is what we've gotten over the years, to be able to show the client a big picture. So even people that sell estate planning from some of these firms, they're not able to convince the client to understand, let him know why estate planning is very important. Because it's more of, okay, we'll control the assets, we'll make fees. There's no alignment. Now, for the high net worth, why don't they know? Nigeria isn't that sophisticated yet. We're just all getting to know this thing. So it was more bank led in the 90s, 2000s. Then you had the stock market, then people lost money. So people switched more to real estate, it was more stable. So that level of sophistication hasn't come yet. It's one of the things that we are trying to bring to the market. People thinking in sophisticated ways. Nigeria is not also very advanced. So the average Nigerian doesn't know this. I mean, I saw the education that happened on Twitter 2016, 17. People were knowing investment products.
Yeah.
And it was a shock to me because I've been in investments since 2007, 8. So you notice people comparing the money market fund yield. They'll compare it with a P2P lending platform yield.
Yeah.
And I was like, you see all those things on Twitter and everybody's just talking. And people don't understand how to measure risk. So there's a lack of knowledge in a lot of things. If you look at the US, it's more advanced. People understand 401k, you understand the stock market. America is a bit more engineered toward the stock market because they have a large stock market and people are engineered. But if you look at Europe, the UK, they are more engineered towards real estate. I think it's the institutions that go directly. Then also for tax concerns, there's a reason why people might not be that interested because of the tax rates you pay. Nigeria doesn't have all those.
It's a gold mine. You feel see Nigeria, you feel enter and quickly just back, do what you gotta do, move again.
Yeah. So
how many people doing real estate? How many taxes do they pay when they sell their property?
Pretty much none.
They're not paying any tax.
Because those transactions are sometimes like shadow. You have the property, you sell it, you move the money.
No tax,
Yes.
zero tax involved.
Yes, and you're cashing out significantly.
JV, people will go and do these JV deals. Do you understand?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of it. There's a housing deficit in Nigeria and Lagos. So it's a no-brainer. There was a time we put our clients to slow down on real estate because of the devaluation of the currency. But with the stability back now, there's a huge demand in real estate. Prices are jumping astronomically because there's huge demand. People want proximity to a functioning city. People want to stay where the economic
Where the
drivers
money
are.
is.
Yeah, so that's why you see that Lekki Ekpe axis, the massive growth, but also on the mainland too, because you also have influx of immigration. So prices are. I've told people that either you try and get something in real estate, land, property, warehouse, and that's another thing Nigerians are not focusing on. I have a client that is building something for a client in the Ekpe axis, and they're building massive warehousing for Chinese. The Chinese are already taking up everything. So one of the things I just tell
I heard they bought
Nigerians is
the whole of Moe, they bought it already as of 5-6 years ago.
one of the reasons why we are doubling down on Nigeria is that foreigners are taking, I won't say they're taking over, they're investing massively. Nigerians are going to be priced out of Nigeria, is my fear. My fear is that foreigners will take a lot of positions. Nigerians will be reactive. Only a few Nigerians who are playing and participating will take advantage. So I always tell anyone, this is your country. Don't get priced out. This is your country. People, my friend said that Indian guy landed in Kano and said, wow, this reminded him of India in 1991. The opportunities are mad. He was so excited. So that's what Nigeria presents. It's a $400 billion economy. What does that mean? It means the goods and services exchange is worth $400 billion. Question you want to be asking is, how much of that $400 billion entering my pocket?
And that's why they tell you, like, even like you said, Nigeria continues to be in the developmental stage, and it means that you always have access. You can always create products to sell to Nigeria, whether
Yes.
it's educational products. That's why education is a big deal in Nigeria. You set up a platform and you are going to give them certificates. They will rush you.
Yes. Look at these guys, Rugby and Charterhouse. They did their numbers now. They also understand, okay, there's this demand from this place. Okay, let's bring it closer to them. There's so many services. Yes, purchasing power is falling, there's poverty, but there's a huge population of people that still have spending power. So those are the things we do for our clients. We help them look at 360-degree view, all the things that are important to them, and it depends on their needs. For example, we have situations where we're working with entrepreneurs, early entrepreneurs. They are asset heavy but cash flow poor. So they have like equity in their company, they have some real estate, but they don't have like liquidity. So our job is to work towards improving their liquidity. For some clients, you want to expose them to global markets, give them more exposure. For one of our clients, what we're doing now is we're even it was timely for us. We've set up her account in the Gulf region. She has the golden visa, so she set up her account in the Gulf.
What? Wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Just hold on right there. What is a gold visa?
Okay, so golden visas in Dubai, you can't just visas aren't just issued like the regular travel visa, but the long-term visas, which is like 5 years, 10 years, are called the golden visa, where you're a resident of Dubai and you can transact, have a house, and you can set up a bank account, you can invest. So you need to have property value, I think above 500,000 or $1 million to be able to have the golden visa. I think they brought the threshold down. And then you can now set up an account and invest in that region. So what we're doing for this client is we're trying to help her get exposure to the entire Gulf markets, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, because there's a lot of growth going on in those places: real estate, financial technology, banking. If you look at it, First Abu Dhabi Bank, they've come to open a branch in Nigeria too. So those are signs that there's activity in Nigeria. So
Things happening.
yeah, so we're giving her exposure to that region. Now, this is a client that already has US stock portfolio. She has Euro bonds. She has a bit in Europe, exposure to Europe through ETFs, and we're trying to give her. So this is what we do for high net worth people. Because typically high net worth individuals is what you call country buyers or home buyers. If you're from Nigeria, most of your assets always be in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So we try to free them of that bias to give them more opportunities. We're agnostic. We like to move and give them broader exposure, a bit in China, a bit in India, a bit in Latin America, to capture all that growth in their portfolio based on their risk profile.
Interesting. So if people want to contact you, what should their net worth be like for them to say, let's contact Dami at Wealth Hearts. Let me write them an email to I want to work with them. What should be the minimum threshold there?
Yeah, typically we take clients with $1 million and above.
Okay.
Yes, $1 million and above.
That's why I'm not a client. $1 million and above.
Yes,
then
$1
you're
million
talking.
and above. Yeah, so $1 million and above.
Can I say because this is also because if you have $1 million and above, you are okay with paying Wealth Hearts their fee.
Yes.
You understand? Anything below a certain amount, and Wealth Hearts says, "Oh, it's $20,000 is your yearly fee or something." You got to hope. Okay.
Wealth Hearts. I mean, the last time I spoke to you, I think it was about the threshold was lower, right?
It was way lower.
Yeah, the threshold was lower.
Okay. Yesterday's price. Okay.
It's not today's price.
So the threshold was lower. So what happened is we had clients we were working with before, but we had to sort of retire them because what we're actually trying to achieve as a business is to be able to attend to certain types of clients and offer more. We found out that these other clients won't be able to offer enough of the capabilities we have, and we have a lot of like spare capacity not to be able to offer you the service. And sometimes payment might be, you might not need some services that we can really render. But what we do is our service is in twofold. We have our one-time plans where it's not usually measured by any threshold. It's the retainer plans that work with the $1 million threshold. But our one-time plans where we help people build like financial plans.
Design it and everything.
We'll design it and we'll give it to you and then we execute. So we have the one that focuses on comprehensive plan. We look at everything. So we have clients where the DIY type of people, so we come up with a plan. If it's the comprehensive plan you want, that means we look at investment and non-investment aspects. So there's a fee for that.
And then they can go and execute on their own.
Exactly. And then if it's just an investment plan, like we have a client who we just did an investment plan. Person just wants to know, I have this cash, this is the cash I'm receiving every month. Just come up with a plan, an asset allocation, what I need to be funding. And then we do that. Use this platform, buy these securities, invest, hold this. The comprehensive plan would look at other things that are non-investments. And then we'll just charge you a flat fee, work with you for a 2-month, 3-month period. 2-month period, we're done. Yeah. But the retainer plans, we work with you all year long. So the retainer plans are also comprehensive and just investments. So there's a comprehensive plan and there's the investment retainer. So investment retainer, we're just focused on investments. We're not thinking anything estate plan, writing wills, just purely focused on it. So we have clients like that. They'll say, Dami, just help me advise me on managing this money. So we give you periodic advice. We have like our half-yearly meetings. We discuss. We give you instructions. We're monitoring the portfolio. It's ongoing. And then for the comprehensive, which is the one most of our clients like, because they have complexities. So we do things like setting up trust, offshore, estate planning, domestic trust. We deal with the partners. We help with pricing. We're able to separate chaff from wheat. These are industry. So we're working with you ongoing.
Yeah. Let me ask this last question before we go. We have to let you go. Last question is for some of the clients you work with, male and female clients,
Yeah.
what percentage of these clients hide some of their net worth from their partners?
Now for you.
So, so I would say,
It's okay. Let me just say, like, it's happening, right?
yeah, it happens. It happens. It happens. But it's some of the things that we try to discourage. We try to discourage it. We try to encourage that our clients to work with their partners and be on the same page. So by the time you're drafting will, setting up trust, your partner is already in the know.
So this is
Yeah.
some of the reasons why these people don't have will set up and all these things set up already, because it
Yeah,
exposes, your entire network to.
yeah. And it's some of the things our clients, Nigeria, there's also the struggle with wealth. And it's some of the things that also we're trying to do as we evolve to as a firm, where we educate our clients on how to sort of like training, how to bring your kids on board, understanding your own values, your legacy. In our own experience, working with like estate planners and trust, we found that a lot of sometimes women um, don't want their husbands to know what they have. I've had these conversations.
Mm.
Yeah. Sometimes it's out of maybe she's second wife or trying to just protect the children. So you always see they mention their kids.
In the
For
whole
women,
thing.
their kids are very important.
Hmm.
You know, but for men, in most cases, they encapsulate everybody. This should go to my wife. This should go to the children, or mention them as beneficiaries of the trust. So you have those situations. But but in terms of like really divide, everybody's a bit. What we've also found out that we have a lot more breadwinners are women than we
That you
than we.
envisaged. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of women are breadwinners in this country. At least some of our clients, most of them
Hmm.
are the breadwinners.
Wow.
They're the ones bringing in the heavy dough.
Wow.
Yeah. So most of the
Wow.
men are just and yeah, you have men too that sometimes they're the breadwinners, and typically there's always that divide. The man knows everything he's doing, the woman doesn't really know. So we try to encourage the woman to be there and also to know us, so that when anything happens, she knows who to contact, reach out the lawyer, reach out the financial advisor, and then we can work together.
That's super. That's super. We'll put your website and your social media handles in the show notes, but tell people where they can reach you and where they can reach Wealth Heart.
Okay, so you can send us an email, hello@wealthheart.com. You can reach us there. Social media, we're not that heavy. We can also reach out to us on Twitter, Instagram, anywhere. We're also on those platforms. And then you can send me a DM. I'm at Igodaro1 on Twitter. You can send me a DM too if you know anyone that needs our service. So what we're doing is really transformational, meaningful, and life-changing. It's one of the best satisfactions that we get when some clients have worked with us and maybe due to our fees or something, they left us and they came back to work with us again
Mm.
because they saw the impact of working with us during that period. It's like having your own, in quotes, personal family office where someone's guiding you consistently. And we do this, for example, there are compliance requirements we have in a company. So, people use companies as SPVs to hold real estate.
Yeah.
And some of the things we encourage to sort of commingle real estate, sorry, to separate property from property. And then you have situations where people are not doing CAC filing
Hmm.
returns.
Hmm.
They are not doing preparing accounts. They are not preparing audited financial statements. There's no tax planning. They are not filing VAT,
Hmm.
CIT, corporate income tax. They're not filing all these things. So they're not filing all these things. And one day the tax guy will just come
And
and
collect all
muscle
his money.
you
Yeah.
and just be, and then also your balance sheet, that is your bank statement. You've been using the company's account to move money. You know how Nigeria just move money, someone move. So there are no proper descriptions capturing income and expense statements. So those are the
Hmm.
things we help with. We bring a lot of sanity in all that place. ensure that all your statutory obligations for companies, everything you are doing, everything up to date. We keep all those records such that you're always in good standing with the law. So we help with tax avoidance, we help with all those things. So from a tax planning perspective, very important. We help you then with audit, ensuring that you're up to date on all things. Those are the things we look at. So it's a lot.
There's a lot. It's a lot. I'm just hearing a lot of money. I need this money.
Yeah.
But it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Thanks for coming on the pod and just breaking everything down.
Well done, Dami. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for a round of applause to you. Round of applause.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully it won't take this long to come back on another episode.
Most definitely.
All right, man. Ciao. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Have a good one.
You.
Yeah.
Catch you later. All right, guys, you heard it.
Well, when Dami said that we left that the government has left our narrative, like our narrative framework.
Yeah, I know say paying you. I know say paying you.
Bro, that's you not pay me. You know, I've always been saying this.
You've always been saying it.
It just reinforced my belief. We left it to people in Iweka Road. Because bro, that thing is insane.
We left it to a bunch of people, guys, that just wanted to make money.
I remember I was in Kenya. Having conversations with like some girls about, and the first thing they asked me, like, why do Nigerian girls just love money so much? That's the first thing they asked me.
Oh, mine was they just wanted me to speak in pidgin.
Yeah, that one did too. I'm like, that was the first thing. Like, why they so much in love with money? And I started explaining, it's not just the Nigerian girls. Like, Nigerians love money. It's not not Nigerian girls.
Or they ask you, why do you treat your domestic staff so bad?
Oh,
you know, like,
that's a bad one. That's a bad one. We're going to go on a quick music break, and then when we come back, we'll round up the show. All right, guys, catch you soon.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
You are now listening to Loose Talk.
Loose Talk, baby.
Imaginary players aiming coach right. Master recipes under stove lights. The number on his jersey is the quote price. You order Diet Coke, that's a joke, right? Everybody get it off the boat, right? But only I can really have a snow fight. Detroit nigga challenge, what's your dope like? If your bin's bigger, step it up to ghost life. Missy was I only misdemeanor. My tunnel vision's better under stove lights. You order Diet Coke, that's a joke, right? My workers compensated so they don't strike. Wish me luck, see green like Don Bishop. The ones you trust don't change like them chains you tuck. Far as I'm concerned, who's the best? Me and Jesus. Washed and dried, so give me all of mine and pesos. Add it up. Your bitches in them pictures, but they laser tagging us. They mad at us. Who wouldn't be? We became everything you couldn't be. Everything your mama said you shouldn't be. The Porsche's horse is revving like, look at me. Saddle up. I'm still pitching, baby, batter up. Imaginary players aiming coach right. Master recipes under stove lights. The number on his jersey is the quote price. You order Diet Coke, that's a joke, right? All you niggas get it off the boat, right? But only I can really have a snow fight. Detroit nigga challenge, what's your dope like? If your bin's bigger, step it up to ghost life. The flow's untouched, the drums is tough. Drive colored in when roads get rough. Snow's a must, the nose adjust. Young G's like we Hove and Puff. Best jewelries and hoes we lust. Chanel trinkets, same hoes will blush. Crush hearts like pretty boys. And we driving pretty toys. Extendos will make plenty noise. Crescendo, make your car endo. Pierce your car window. Missy was I only misdemeanor. Nike box hold 100,000 with no insoles. The crack era was such a black era. How many still standing reflecting in that mirror? Lucky imaginary players aiming coach right. Master recipes under stove lights. The number on his jersey is the quote price. You order Diet Coke, that's a joke, right? All you niggas get it off the boat, right? But only I can really have a snow fight. Detroit nigga challenge, what's your dope like? If your bin's bigger, step it up to ghost life.
You are now listening to Loose Talk.
You're now listening to Loose Talk.
And we are back. We are back. We are back. Let us quickly do this week in history. All right, this week in history on April 17, which happens to be Dami's birthday, by the way, just a few days ago. Aminu Kano dies. The popular politician, teacher, and reformist known for leading two political parties that introduced socialist and pro-people politics in northern Nigeria passed away on April 17, 1983. He began as an educator and later led the Northern Elements Progressive Union (NEPU), opposing the conservative elites. In the Second Republic, he founded the People's Redemption Party (PRP) and ran for president in 1979. His politics centered on social justice, women's education, and the dignity of the Talakawa, which means common people. Is that the same thing
Oh,
as
lie, I don't know this person.
Oh,
Yes, it
Aminu
is.
Kano. Come on now. You can't
I
say you
don't
don't know
know.
Aminu Kano. Aminu Kano.
Talaka is the Yoruba corrupted word for what you just said now.
Interesting. You will know Aminu Kano now. Come on.
Now force.
Just you
That's
on.
no.
See, if
GC
you're just too much of a tribalist. If you don't pass Port Harcourt like this, you don't know anybody again.
I'm actually going to even
Thank
send
God you know
his
Tinubu.
Wikipedia. I'm going to send his Wikipedia page to
I'm on his Wikipedia page now. That's how I confirm that I never knew him now.
Aminu Kano. Nah, man. Like, you see how long his Wikipedia page is?
Oh my long go.
A long. That's what you call money long. It's long. That was this week in history. We'll get back to you next week. Please check out archiving. Archiving will give you everything that, well, not everything, but almost everything when it comes to Nigeria's history. Okay? One search away. Just type in the keyword what you're looking for. What am I going to look for now? Let me look for, what should I look for in archiving? Just randomly. Something from the past. Ayo, give me something. You're old school
Killer
guy.
beans.
Look for any
Killer
society
beans.
wedding.
Killer beans is good.
Okay, killer beans. So
Killer beans is good. Oh my god. 1996. Food
Yeah,
safety.
man.
Oh my god. No, you don't understand. The first page archiving pulled out for me is Killer Beans Scare, the facts and fictions, 1996.
Yeah, nah, back there now.
I remember coming back from school, primary school, obviously, one time, and I saw beans, like beans set out for us to eat. And I'm like, this thing does not kill again. What's happening here now?
Killer beans. Remember that time where we all stopped eating beans?
Yeah.
Oh
my
my god.
It was when Mawana went on TV that people now say, okay, we can come back to eat it.
Killer beans. Where the story start, how did the rumor start? I mean,
there were plenty.
That
there
one family, they had the beans and they died immediately. Oh my god. My mother said, nobody is eating beans.
I'm for like 2 months, nobody chop beans. So.
We're not. I mean, I like beans. And you know, in Nigeria, you have different kind of beans. You know,
beans and gari,
drum, oloyin, olomi, different kind of beans. I mean, I like beans. Is my best food.
This is my same here. Anything beans related.
You know,
beans went down.
I couldn't eat beans for months. I was pissed.
Beans stock went down.
I'm telling you. You know how many people must have lost businesses then because the thing would just be there. Man. Anyways, what else are we talking about in this episode before we bounce? Any other thing we need to do here?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I don't think anything.
Anything happening in music space?
Nothing. Everybody's calm.
What's happening in the music space?
There's nothing happening
because we were saying, it's Q1,
Black
things
Bones,
are a bit slow.
Black Bones dropped 2.0 of his album.
Okay, so he dropped the deluxe version of his album.
The deluxe version. Yeah.
3 new songs. Did a different version of the ACL record. And we played it at the start of the episode with a new verse and all of that. Okay, so Black Bones drops a new album. Great stuff. When April, Ayo. Afrobeats representative.
I don't know about Afrobeats. Nigerian music.
We voted you into the Afrobeats House of National Assembly.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. That
so you are. Is that what?
Nigerian music is moving away. I don't know about Afrobeats, but people are releasing albums. That's what I
You
know.
know, so this year
Davido
alone, we've
performed at
seen.
Coachella.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, we talked about
twice.
last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that last weekend. So this year, so far, the releases we have seen is what? A deluxe of Black Bones album that he dropped last year. So a deluxe and
Yes.
Omale's Clarity of Mind. Who else has dropped album this year?
Who again
This
has dropped an
this
album
is
this year?
April. Oh.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who has dropped an album this year.
Ayo, you people are not doing well in that your
No,
Afrobeats.
we are suffering right now. We're suffering. People,
You
there's
know,
some insiders will tell you that there's no decline, but I can tell you that there's a decline.
it depends
Things
on
are
how you see
declining.
it. Are you seeing it from the macro or the mini level?
Come on now from the mini skirt, so it's not from the macro again.
You
Now,
understand? But
now from everywhere.
from the
From
macro or
everywhere.
mini level, we have to look at
Well,
it. You
well,
understand?
Ira says she's dropping an album soon, so
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. When did Thames drop that her album? Was it last year or this year?
the EP was
It's
last
an,
year.
it's an album.
That was an EP. That's
Oh,
an
Love
EP.
is a Kingdom.
Yeah, it's an EP now.
Oh, it's an EP. Love is
Yeah,
a Kingdom.
album care.
Okay, so it's an EP, and she dropped it in 2025. There was one song I really
Yeah,
like from that stuff. We'll end up playing it today. Okay, so that's it. That's it. Who else has dropped?
that's
Wait, let me
there's an
Google
album that
this.
is coming out, but I can't tell you who, Sha. But apart
Why
from
can't
that,
you say the person has not
because
announced?
it's saying yeah, he hasn't announced. I can't drop the gun.
Oh, I think you just said he now, so he's a guy. I mean, how many women do we have in the industry
There
anyway?
are, I mean, there are plenty guys in the industry.
So okay, if I okay, you tell me off the pod. You cannot pass Ashake. That one has been teasing album forever.
See, I have theories about that Shake's album, but it's off the pod.
Okay, with the Whiskey and Ashake album
Oh
dropped.
yes, EP dropped January this year.
It dropped this year, right? Okay,
Yes,
So there's
so
that.
that's a major one. There was a major one.
Okay,
Yes,
the show they dropped this year.
yes, he dropped this year too.
Show
Yes,
they
should they
dropped
drop
this
this
year.
year? Yeah,
Fola
yeah.
dropped this year too now.
No, Dropula was last year.
Fola was last year. What about
Yeah.
Buff? Has Buff dropped an album?
No, he's just dropping singles. I don't think he's dropped a body of work yet.
Okay. All right. So I'm reading here key 2026 trends and anticipation. They say a Burner album should drop this year. A Whiskey album should drop this year. An Ashake album should drop this year. A Thames album should drop this year. And a Rema album should also drop this year.
So we have big boys on the way. We have big boys on the way.
Yeah.
Let's take time.
These are all of these ones, they are in the big six now.
Yeah, so then that's the problem. The other guys they've not ascended. That's my own problem.
Also, the guys we call the big that we said the are the
Big
new
six
big,
or big eight,
right? Which were
yeah,
Thames, Rema, and Ashake.
yeah.
Are they still the new big three? No, Omale was not in that big. The new
no,
big three. Omale was not there.
Okay. Who
Omale
again?
was not there.
Thames who?
We said Thames, Ashake, and Rema. They are the new big three.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that one.
You know. So are they? The problem is that the older big three, they're no hungry.
How they go green? They no born. They sabi
set,
born.
that 2011 set, they came and they don't want to leave again.
They sabi born now. I have a theory why they've not left.
So people are saying that the ones holding Afrobeats back.
No, not really. It's just that unlike the other guys who kind of fade out gracefully, these ones
we died there.
They no agree. What's your theory though? You say you have a theory. What's your theory?
I'm not. It's not for public consumption yet.
See, if you're on the pod, don't say you have a theory.
Okay, sorry.
I take it back. We'll do fan mail episode. We have lots of fan mails. Let's do a fan mail episode next weekend. Is that fine by you guys?
No, wala. We did.
All right, super. I think that's it. I think we have everything covered. So much to talk about though on subsequent episodes. But I think for now we've got everything covered. And yeah, it's a wrap. Steve, do you have anything to say?
No, please. I don't.
Nothing from you, Steve.
Nothing at all.
That's very surprising. You usually have something to say. Is there any issue? Is there any problem?
There's no problem at all.
Yeah, sure.
Go get your PVCs, guys.
Go get your
If they like when they don't
PVCs.
get them now. Nobody go tell everybody. No worry.
No, everybody will get it. It's voting season. I think can we do a quick update on Lagos State's governorship elections and all of that? I think it's Hamza too.
Is bro?
Ah,
You think, bro? The handwriting of the world don't pick.
I think they
What we
picked.
know
I
that we
think they
can't
picked
review.
Hamza. He's
We
been
already
on
know.
some. He's been on some visits. You know, some
Somebody
speaking
called him incoming.
engagements.
Somebody called him incoming at a public event, and the person had to retract the statement.
Wow.
But that already shows
for
you.
real?
I can't remember why. I saw it at a glance. But somebody called him incoming governor. And this now person that should be in the know.
Yeah. I think it's Hamza, man.
I like. I just like how APC keeps up this pretense in Lagos
That what about how
that they don't own the street. Because I remember the build up to 2020, when Abzal came to the office in 2019. The reason I told him that I'm just impressed with how you people are campaigning, as if you don't know that you people are going to win already.
See, I'm hearing, and I don't know if this is true, but I hear they hired like a company to handle their campaigns and everything, right?
Oh, for
And
real?
that it was the same company that handled, I think, one of the U.S. presidential elections or something.
Oh, awesome.
They're not playing.
Yeah.
No. Lagos APC was spooked with OB, so they're not playing around at all.
You know, like they do stuff like that. Hamzat was, oh, okay. The GAC chair, Olusi, clarifies incoming governor remark on Hamzat. Chairman of Governor Advisory Council, Tajuddin Olusi. I hear this man, if you are going to become governor, this man you have to go and visit.
That's the
That's
guy.
the man.
This
I
the
person
guy.
don't call you incoming already.
This is the
Baba,
guy. Boy, retracted his
everybody,
statement, but like this is the guy.
everybody should go and sleep. You already know. Let's go. No.
Oh, I didn't even know he is the governor of he's the chairman of the Governance Advisory Council. Hey!
Of course.
Damn.
All right.
It's the ones Bata's left Lagos for.
Because there are bigger things to do right now.
There are bigger things to worry about.
You understand? It's like, you know what, just hold down Lagos. I got
Just
this whole
hold down
country,
Lagos,
yeah.
bro. I got this. I get it how they pursue.
I got this whole country to attend to. Anyway, so right now, if you want to go on the predictions market, Hamzat is probably high up there. This is probably on base. Do you guys use base? It's like a predictions. It's like a poly market or
I know it, but I don't. I know it, but I don't
It's
use
poly
it.
market, man. No.
Oh, base is like Nigeria's version prediction markets. So they call it Africa's, but they are Nigerians that run the company. And then they have everything here. I just opened base.markets now, and you can see who will be presidential candidate of ADC in 2027, Atiku Abubakar or Peter Obi. And they have about 1,000 trades right now.
Is there anyone open for presidential candidate of the APC?
This guy, what's wrong with you? Do you understand? But like they're different. It's predictions market. This is dystopia. This is like end time. This is this very dystopian because we usually have prediction markets on like assets, equities, etc, right? Now you have on like anything.
On everything.
I'm reading
yeah.
here. Will Arsenal go trophyless this season? Bitcoin up or down in 15 minutes? Will Manchester City beat Arsenal FC? Will Manchester City score the first goal versus Arsenal? You're having things like, will Qatar FA defeat Portable? Will Obafemi defeat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 42? Do you understand?
Has that one not happened?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a predictions market, and you have like
Brock Lesnar is still out here hustling. Now,
I'm
wow.
telling you. He said, what is the number one song on Apple Music top songs by April 21? Is it Big Bom Bom or Worship? I don't know who owns those songs. So stuff like that. Predictions market. This is not an ad. I'm just talking about it, and all of that. But like, yeah, let's get out of here, guys. And we'll meet you guys next week. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Catch you guys out there next week. All right. Cheers.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.
You are now listening to Loose Talk.
Okay, now sometimes you find yourself in two ways. Yeah. sometimes. Your love, it feels divided, yeah. And my answer is to pull out. Your love is like an endless sea. It won't lead me to anywhere.